And welcome to Beerfield. I am your host at Hot BFF, being joined somewhere in the basement by a live studio audience. As always, joined by Thurry BFF with two. Wait, those are the wrong Twitter handles again.
Those are totally the wrong Twitter handles.
I am at Beerfield Hop with two P's, being joined by a live studio audience somewhere here in this basement. He is Beerfield Thurry, probably joined by somebody walking into the bathroom momentarily. This week's intro music, The Franchise, Shane Douglas, because we still haven't been copyright claimed for anything WCW that we've played. Dan, how are you?
I'm great. I just came back from doing a big tasting event in Champaign for the University of Illinois. We were at a county market out there, and it was fucking packed. I mean, they were giving away like a bunch of free shit. I saw a kid walk out with like a 55-inch TV that they were just raffling off, and they're raffling off like a Bud Light Yeti cooler. I'm like, what the fuck? Dude, I want
Here,
that.
have our wild sours or a 55-inch TV.
No shit. And like, they were, I guess, giving away free monsters. And so these kids brought up 3 24 slim can cases, or they're about 3 cases up of 24 cans. And they were like, "Do you want one?" I'm like, "Fuck yeah, dude! Like, it's free months. Like, yeah, load that shit up. Let's go." So
hell yeah.
And they let us out an hour early because the GM or the guy who runs the liquor department was very nervous about the amount of people in the store, and he was like, yeah, this pie doesn't look pretty good. I mean, 90% of people were masks, which is a good thing. And
mask mandate coming down again for the state of Illinois, by the way, where we're both at. So
yep. So it was he was a bit nervous, so he wanted to
not a political show, but get vaccinated. It's not a political issue, it's a humanity issue. Weekly reminder.
So he had to shut that shit down an hour early. So
all right,
we're on time, thank God.
What we're not going to shut down is this an hour early. We got a lot to go into. We got some bigotry from the Little League World Series that we're going to touch on. Your weekly reminder, just in case you're a douchebag in the comments, which last week we did not have any of those. Actually, I had somebody asking for some advice, so we'll touch on that. Nice. But we got some bigotry from the Little League World Series. We're going to give you some insight into what goes on the other side of fantasy football Twitter. You know,
we had some bigotry on Twitter.
Some bigotry there. Some shit went down. Seems like every week somebody's outing themselves, and it happened again. We're going to get into the Denver Broncos starting quarterback decision, talk a little bit about the Sony Michel trade, what that means for New England, what that means for the Rams, get into the Travis Etienne injury. Jaguars picked a starting quarterback. That's not a surprise. We're going to talk Jags and how that's changed over the last week or so. Look at what we can take away or not take away, a little buy or sell from preseason week 2, which I have not prepped for at all, so we'll be doing that on the fly. And
like always,
we got some strategies, some advice for you as we get into redraft season. We'll give you a little bit of an ADP check-in, some Roto World, jam-packed show with all sorts of good stuff. But as always, we're going to start with what we're drinking. So let's talk about what we're drinking.
What's fueling Beerfield?
You're right. So I am having beer 1 of, I think, 12. So for those of you who...
You're drinking 12 beers tonight?
No, God, that'd be rough. John Bosch and I...
That's what it sounded like.
I know I did. We swapped some beer at the expo a few weeks ago, and I'm drinking St. Pete Brewing Company's Orange Wheat Ale. I'm trying to see where St. Pete is from. It says St. Petersburg, Florida. That is nowhere near Cincinnati, but I don't care. I think someone else gave them this beer. But either way, we're going to drink some beers. I have some beers that will probably have never been on the show before. At least the breweries haven't. So we're going to do St. Pete Brewing Company's Orange Wheat Ale.
All right, and I've got Double Fisted it's a Belgian Double. It's from Rochester Mills Beer Co. This is out of actually Auburn Hills, Michigan. Is where this is brewed and canned out of. But this is another one we picked up while we were on the road. So it's a Belgian Double. Pretty much straightforward Belgian Double, malt, hops, water, a little bit of candy sugar, because Belgian candy sugar is an ingredient in this. Belgian yeast. So traditional Belgian double fisted. We'll let you know what it's like to be double fisted here later on in the show. Also, this little sidecar, Maker's Mark 101. So,
ooh, there you go.
Little Maker's 101 port as well. All right, that being
I
said,
need to join in with you.
Let's go ahead and get into it. And I want to start off with what the fuck is wrong with people, which is going to be you got a little tweeted, huh?
Well, I mean, you're doing one. I feel like it's only acceptable and what the hell is so stupid.
Fair enough.
Weird things in there.
All right, we're going to start off with what the hell is wrong with people.
Okay.
All right. So, you remember Moni Davis from a few years back in the Little League World Series?
Name sounds familiar, yes.
She was the female pitcher that kind of took it all by storm, and then, whatever. There's a catcher, female, in the Little League World Series this year that's doing exceptionally well. And there's a picture of the two of them that went out on social media. And I made the mistake of reading some of the comments on Facebook.
Oh, boy.
And I feel like, hopefully, our listeners don't need this kind of check, but I want to read some of these comments to you, and then just kind of want to react to them.
Okay.
And this was infuriating for me to read. Let's see. Can we stop with this Moni shit? Tired of seeing this. She played Little League Baseball, was an average player, wasn't that great at girls softball also. I don't understand why they're making such a big deal about it. Okay, so she is a good catcher, talking about Ella was the first name, playing in the Little League All-Star Tournament World Series. No different than any other really good female catcher her age, because those exist. My daughter is a catcher in 14U and 16U softball, one of the top 5 in the state, and we live in. At 13, already is being invited to campus by colleges that are invite only, and before, so, yeah. Let's see. What else? Why isn't she playing girls fast pitch softball? A lot more opportunities for college scholarship rather than being a novelty playing baseball.
Oof. Yikes.
Not sure if I missed the comments, but we also had a kid throw a no-hitter with 14K. Oh, and also on that Texas team, there's 12 other kids that are pretty damn good. Just saying. People, she's just a ball player. There are a lot of other better players than her out there. Y'all are blowing this way out of proportion. Move on. Damn. Keep in mind, all this was a picture of Moni Davis, who took it by storm, and a young lady who was catching in the Little League World Series that they took together because Moni threw out the first pitch. And the amount of ego-bruised male testosterone over a 14-year-old girl playing Little League is fucking goddamn astounding to me. I mean
color me shocked, right? Like, bruised white male ego.
Mm-hmm.
Because some little white boy doesn't have his picture taken.
Well,
because equality.
And here's the thing you don't understand, right? You're treating it as a novelty act when somebody is playing at just as high of a level as the males around her. The difference is it's not expected. Society has made it not expected. Society has made it not the norm. You're pissed off because you don't see why it's a big deal because she is doing this. Well, you just said it. That's why it's a big deal, because she is doing this. And Moni Davis was the last one before her to do this, to show up in the Little League World Series, which is already perpetuating male dominance and not sitting on equality. You're choosing to try to diminish the accomplishments of these females that are doing this, that are breaking barriers, because why exactly? Because your ego's bruised? Because, well, you hit a home run in third grade in Little League. Like, I don't understand it. I don't understand why people are out there trying to diminish these accomplishments. I don't understand why people can't just fucking enjoy it. It's kids out there. They're playing. They're having fun. And, yes, everybody at the Little League World Series to make it there. There are good teams. There are great players. She is the difference. It's the she. It's the her. It's the fact that you have somebody in here breaking barriers. And people hate to see it. Now I don't fucking understand why.
Because it's not how I grew up with the game. It's not what I used to watch. I remember back in my day, back when I watched Little League, back when I played, it was boys only.
Well, my daughter's good. She's not getting attention. Well, she is. She's top 5 in the state based on some metric, right? So, I mean, she's getting invites only to go to these schools. Of course she's getting attention. You're mad because she didn't get a picture with Monia Davis? Well, she didn't go to the goddamn Little League World Series. The media isn't covering her, but she's getting recognition in her own right. Why are you pissed off at the accomplishments of others? Your daughter's obviously doing just fine, so why are you pissed off at other people accomplishing shit? Why are you pissed off at other people getting recognition that are doing well? And to call it a novelty is just goddamn insulting.
Yeah, it's
It's more than just a novelty if somebody's good. If you're good, you're good. You're not a novelty act if you're good at what you're doing.
Yeah, they're not prancing her out there because she's...
No, they're not prancing her out there because she's a girl.
Woman.
They're prancing her out there because she's good at what she does.
Exactly, and she's earned that right as much as any other person, any other white male kid has earned this spot up in that spot. She's earned it just as much, and it also having to deal with more of the bullshit that they wouldn't have to deal with. Like, she's doing it in spite of these bruised white males, and not even just this is bruised white people. It's not even just males.
Oh yeah,
anymore.
you think a 14-year-old girl is gonna be numb to the comments that are flying around out there? Do you feel good about yourself, Billy? One of them was actually named Billy, by the way. I'm not just pulling that out of thin air. But do you feel fucking good about yourself, Billy? You goddamn douche. You're trying to fucking diminish the accomplishments of a teenage girl? Does that help you in some way?
It makes him sleep a little bit better at night, knowing that she's already accomplished more than what he could ever dream to have accomplished. As he leans back over, squirts a little bit of lotion, and turns on his favorite porno.
Yeah, speaking of people accomplishing more, let's get into some of what's gone on fantasy Twitter, because I'm fucking sick of both sides of this.
It's fucking rough.
It's bad.
I'm just blocking everybody left and right at this point.
I don't block people. It's just kind of my MO. I will unfollow people.
Well, I mean, I do that too.
But
at this point,
I blocked McCoy because of, don't deal with that shit. Like, if I'm previously following you and we have had interactions, I'll probably block you. But if I'm just following you innocently, like, I might throw an unfollow. But, I mean, I'm just not a big block person or really not a big unfollow person. I've never been a big unfriend person because it takes effort on my part to do that. And at that point, you don't deserve any more effort from me, period. So, they're so
egotistically driven by their follower count. I feel like the 30 seconds or less that it takes me to just hit unfollow and block, to where I don't even have to fucking see their shit anymore. Like, at this point, it's about being, it's not wanting to help promote that type. Right. Like, but anyways, let's
speak on all of this, because there's been a lot going on. There's some opinions I was interested in, but let's talk, right? Because first off, we don't like having to sit here and riff on things that go down in the fantasy football community. It's been a very welcoming community to us. We've mostly avoided drama, partially because we're not big, nor do I want to be, given what I've seen happens to a lot of that. Like, but, we've been lucky enough to avoid it, but every time something screwed up happens, I feel the need to talk about it, right? Because there's normally a bigger issue at hand that I feel like, well, people may not necessarily care about our opinion. I feel like on my conscience, we got to do something to address it. So let's start with the shit that went down between Kevin and Steffi. Yeah. And I'm going to give my opinion here, and then we'll go from there. So Steffi Smalls, meteoric rise, social media manager for FTN. Kind of a thing with picking fights. And you see it a lot in the industry, and I don't want to pick on, we're very pro-female in the industry. I don't want to pick on that contingent. But there are some, and it's not just females, but there are some analysts, regardless of any other affiliation, that get really offended when you don't agree with their takes and get excessively butthurt if you have a differing opinion. And this is all from what I was able to deduce. It was a Kadarius Toney opinion. And Kev, who we have no relationship with Kev, we really don't have a relationship with Steffi in any way, shape, or form.
This is very much
Dan interacted with her and followed her a little bit. I followed her. This is very much outside of us.
Yeah.
But, she gave a Kadarius Toney opinion. Kev said Kadarius Toney sucks. Steffi got bent out of shape, started calling him a bully, this, that, and the other, because he had a differing opinion. And she picked a fight with somebody that knew how to use the Twitter search function and went and found some tweets from 2013 using some racist and homophobic language. Again, 8 years ago. And that set the world on fire.
It was like a slow burn too. It wasn't like
slow burn. Now
it took a little bit to get going because you and I were both. I was really following because we're playing disc golf when it broke out.
Yeah,
and I was like trying to figure out what the fuck is going on. I'm waiting to hear people's response because it went from,
especially the clicky people, right?
Exactly, like it went from Kev saying Toney sucked to her and her main people blocking him, and then he made a post saying, this is what Follow Friday looks like, and that's what jump started everything. Because that's when she came out and accused him of bullying, which I guess wasn't true at all.
Yeah, because he asked for, when she accused him of bullying, to his credit, look, he admits to being rough around the edges. I'm very rough around the edges. For anybody that's ever met me, ever talked to me, I'm socially awkward. I have social anxiety like a mofo. I'm very sarcastic. There's a lot of things I say that can be taken wrong. I am very, very rough around the edges. I don't necessarily put that out in my Twitter persona, but in my in-person, real-life persona towards my friends and everyone else, I'm a very rough around the edges person. So I respect somebody else that is very rough around the edges. And he admitted to being rough around the edges and kind of challenged people like, yo, if I was bullying somebody, like, I don't see it that way, but show me. Take a screenshot, show me where I bullied somebody, put it here, because maybe I do need some self-reflection. Maybe I do need to improve. And I don't think that was empty. The way I read it, I don't think that was an empty offer. It was, show me where some things I've said can be perceived wrong, and maybe I need to do some self-reflection myself. And I didn't see that as empty, but the thing is, and the thing he kept saying is, it's not there. There are no receipts you can give me, and nobody did.
No, somebody came out and said they dug into it. Somebody random outside of those two dug into it and basically said there's none. There's nothing. That would be,
I see you disagreeing with people. You're rough
Yeah.
around the edges. There is no personal attacks. You're not bullying anybody. Because bullying to me requires a personal attack. It doesn't require a disagreement. It requires you to personally attack somebody.
Yeah. And to constantly keep doing it.
Yes, consistently.
To the point where, yeah.
Because there are no room for personal attacks anyway. You want to attack somebody's take? Fine. You want to disagree with somebody's take? That's your right. We have proven it on this show time and time again. You can twist numbers however you want to twist them. I have done it on the same player because I forgot what I wrote down.
That was so good. Hayden Hurts, baby.
Taking numbers that
great.
were negative, and I had actually written a bunch of positives and presented the same data in different ways within 5 minutes, because that's what you can do with numbers. If you have a different take, you have a different take. You are entitled to that take. People are entitled to disagree with that take. What you're never entitled to do is personally attack somebody, and he did not do that. But dug up tweets from 8 years ago, and FTN lets her go. She drops off Twitter. You argued with the wrong person. Now, look, from a Steffi point of view, everybody has skeletons. I have skeletons. There's shit I have put. There's shit I'm still cleaning up because I'm not proud of it, right?
Yep.
I'm not going to sit here and lie to anybody. I grew up in small-town Illinois, and there is a certain demeanor that you get growing up in small-town Illinois that when I moved to larger towns and cities and stuff, had to be adjusted. I had to grow as a human being, and that happens. If I were ever big, there are skeletons that people would find. Am I proud of it? Absolutely not. Not one bit. It was young, it was ignorant, it was bigoted, it was not making excuses. What happens when you grow up in a small town that is predominantly white and has a certain opinion? You are a product of your environment, and you have to outgrow that environment.
Yep.
And I am proud to say that I have, but it took time, and I'm not going to pretend like those skeletons aren't there. Problem is they were found for her. They were busted out. While I don't agree necessarily on cancel culture and busting people out from shit that's 8 years old because people grow and people change, I understand that. I respect that. The advice there is that if you're going to argue with people, if you're going to be offended by people, if you're in the position that you're in, you better not have any skeletons, or you better have gone through and cleaned them all. Because people will find them if that's the route you're going to take. And what she said wasn't right, and I get crossed up whenever people release these apology statements and stuff, because half of it feels rehearsed and empty, and the other half of it is like, well, what the hell else are you supposed to say? Because you can't take it back, right? Yeah. You have to take your dues and take your comeuppance. So, I mean, look, I take issue with what she said now. I understand it from somebody that came up numb to that type of language, that had to outgrow it. Now, that being said, that doesn't get into any of my personal feelings. It's my feelings on the situation. It doesn't get into any of my personal feelings, and I will refrain from those because, I mean, let's be honest, they're sometimes I just don't like the way people carry themselves. They're not great, but that's not what this is about.
I think for me, it was how long it took and the amount of extra talking to on Twitter before the accountability. A post came out. You know, it's going to take people, you know, if they're actually writing it, it doesn't come off as you know, I guess fake, and it comes off as being genuine. Like, there's only one response. In my opinion, there's only one response when that happens, regardless how long ago, is you got to show accountability for it. And you got to show from the time from people who have met you, whether it be, you know, virtually or in person, that you've grown from the comments that you posted. And while Steph can be very much strong-minded and strong-headed, I've always respected her for that. I don't take, you know, I take pretty, you know, strong offense for what she said, especially, you know, now I'm about to be, you know, a stepfather to, you know, to my soon-to-be wife's son who's gay.
Yeah.
You know, that language, like, personally affects me even more so than it ever did before, because while we're not blood, we're about to be family. And I do believe that she's been a strong-minded. She's been very vocal against bullying. She's been very vocal against the shit that happened before this, especially with Matt McCoy and everything else.
And maybe that's growth in the last 8 years, right? I mean, these are from 2013.
Yeah, like, I think people can assume that growth is there. No, she understands. Obviously, she's going to have to.
You got to take it, and you got to lay low for a bit, and
we'll see what happens. We've seen people bounce back from it. We've seen people that have, you know, taken not nearly as strong of a hit because of her rise and how she's carried herself. She's obviously attracted people that are hateful, mean, and trolls, and because she's a woman, she's already gonna attract that anyways. And then on top of her being very opinionated and very much, I'm going to take my stand and I will not, back down to being talked to, in a demeaning way. She's gonna just find people that are gonna hate her. It's just how that's like. People are attracted to things that they can't have, and they attack people like that.
And it's a tough position to be
about.
in, because when people view you as, this is the misogyny part of it, when people view you as lesser anyway, then they're going to attack that, and you're going to be more sensitive to it. But that is not what Kev was doing. I did not see anything wrong with what he did.
No. I mean, it depends. He felt personally attacked.
He was getting
I'm on the
dragged.
fence with what he was getting dragged. She sent his her followers on him. She threatened to unfollow people that were following. She made it personal, and that's when she bullied him.
And that's a problem, because she was bullying him. And to me, it's this. I was bullied as a kid, right?
So was I.
And the one thing I was
stutter.
Yeah, well, the one thing I was taught is this, and it worked out every single goddamn time. If you're being bullied, you fucking hit the bully in the mouth. And you might not win the fight, but if you hurt him, even if you lose, he's going to leave you alone. So one thing I was taught is you hit the bully in the mouth, and every single time. I'm a very defensive person also, by the way. Not about fantasy football takes, but about a lot of other things. I'm a very defensive person. I have the self-awareness to know that. You hit the person in the mouth if you're being bullied, and that's what happened. She tried to drag him. She tried to bully him. She cornered him. He felt attacked. He went and found something to hit her in the mouth with. And you know what? That was deserved. In my opinion.
Yeah.
Now, the other side of this. I want to talk about the clicky side of it for a minute.
Same here.
We'll break it down. I'm going to start here. Rumboys Robbie, at Rumboysr. Excellent video and excellent take. You were absolutely right. It is nobody's business what you think. You ran around. He's not going to listen to this, I'm sure, but I want to put it out there anyway. You clicked up with her. You approached her directly. You had a conversation with her. You took care of it on your own, and you did it one-on-one. You approached it in an adult manner. You didn't air the dirty laundry. You went at it, and the video you put out makes an excellent point that I think cannot be ignored, and I'm going to get to the fantasy stoner in a minute. And that point is this. If you are outraged because of the language she used or the groups that it offended, awesome. You're an ally. If you are celebrating because somebody you didn't like fell down and it has nothing to do with the language that was used or the groups that were offended, you are absolutely in the wrong and have no right to victory lap, is what I took out of his video. And you know what? He said it, I saw Ray say it too. Nobody reached out to us personally. That's a perspective that as a white male I never thought about. To reach out to the African Americans, the black people that associated with her and say, hey, are you okay? You had this personal relationship. How are you doing? That is something that never crossed my mind. That is a learning opportunity for me. But in a tough situation, Robbie, I feel like you handled that with grace. I feel like you handled that well. And I feel like your message is something that needs to land with a lot of people. And I know you catch a lot of hate because of the clickiness of everything. And I know there are a lot of people coming at you because you didn't put out a public statement and you didn't have to. It was dumb of people to expect that, but you did it. And it was well thought out. It was well voiced. It was a message that landed, and nothing but respect for you.
I got to give one more shout out too.
Go ahead.
That is on the other side of this too, and that's going to be Tim Turner at Quantum Tim or at Quantum Turner,
who had his own problems last summer or earlier this summer, by the way.
And he's grown from it. We've seen pictures with people that he had very much offended and pissed off. So Tim is a dad to a trans son, and Tim also reached out to Steph, and he posted it. He posted it was a summed up tweet based on the DMs that him and Steph shared, and he was the same way. He's like Ray, and it was, well, I think there's growth there. It's time to end this relationship because of what was said. Tim didn't have to post it. He didn't have to do anything. And while I do think some people need to try to show accountability, they're not obligated to make a post on social media with how they, handled it personally. Tim did, and he did it in such a remarkable way because it showed the sides. He complimented her on her growth and how she has responded to it posts. And he also said that I cannot follow or support a person who has once shared this idea, just given the personal position that he's in with his son. And while this is the true, I think, loss to this. Now, that's not to say that may change over time, because I'm all for second chances. Like, people fuck up throughout their lives, and you got to hopefully see through, hopefully find growth when you find these things, especially if they're 5, 6 plus 8 years old. You hope that you can see growth in those people. I don't know Smalls personally. Neither of you. We had no reason for us to reach out. We're just voicing our opinion.
Yeah, it's because she straight up stood in front of her booth and blew us off at the expo. Like, let's not ignore that fact, right? There was very, very much
True.
She's seen you in her comments, I'm sure. She's interacted with us on Twitter. There was very, very much I'm not going to interact with you, but I'm going to take pictures right in front of your booth.
I do have a great photo bomb, so
I'm just going to say
with me chugging my beer.
Like, that shit rubs me wrong, right? You're there to take selfies? Come say hi. But again, I'm trying not to bring my personal feelings into this because there are a lot of other things that I just didn't have an appetite for there.
Exactly. So I just wanted to give that shout out to Tim, who's also been on the same side of Smalls in this situation, and he's obviously shown growth and was able to, to show that growth and recover for it. So, yeah.
All right, 2 other people I need to address here. This is less positive. And then we'll get into real football talk. For those that are somehow still listening 40 minutes or 31 minutes into this podcast, this is stuff that we feel like we need to talk about. We appreciate you. Bear with us. We're going to get to the news. We're going to get to the big stuff. But we don't want to let this stuff slide. We actually are working on something that we've talked about in the past that we've wanted to do for a bit that'll help cover and give more insight to a lot of this. We're just trying to find the right time to do it. But I want to start with the fantasy stoner. Think at FF Stoner.
Yeah, that sounds right.
You are exactly the person that is being referenced when people say taking victory laps for all the wrong reasons, and you're still tweeting about it 4 days later. Where's the outrage? Where's the hate? Where's the selective this? Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Trying to drum that up, and while people agree with you, you look fucking pathetic. It's completely against the mantra. You think it's somebody that's putting a stoner mantra out there, chill, laid back, kind of whatever. I don't give a shit about anything when I smoke weed, and I do that about a couple times a month at least. But you're out there trying to drum up, hey, you can't let it go. 5 days later, where's the outrage? Where's the hate? All the clicky shit. Da-da. While I don't disagree with it, you look goddamn pathetic. She took her L's. You need to fucking let it go. And again, this is the dark side of fantasy Twitter. This is the one person that is victory lapping a downfall, not standing on anything that she did wrong, not taking exception to anything that was said or anything that could be offensive, just relishing in the fact that somebody lost their career because they had a personal vendetta and then bitching about the fact that people aren't mad enough. Fuck that guy.
Pretty much. Yeah, actually, there's no pretty much. It is. And I've had him blocked for a while. ironically enough, is because of the shit that him and Smalls got into. And I believe he was the one that was behind the burner account that had her. I think it was some of her Instagram photos basically pretending to be a lewd account with her pictures. It was beyond disgraceful. It's fucking
also
disgusting.
fucking pathetic. Like,
Which is, like,
Jesus Christ, how insufferable
man. Like,
of
you
a
are
sad human being are you?
You are a grown fucking man at this point. Grown man. Like, you have a kid who's grown. Like, why are you stooping to a point this low to completely diminish and to give false? Like, this is catfishing, and he got caught like instantly. So from that point, I've been done. Like, he's been on the end of being completely hateful and hurtful to people. And at that
which
point,
is not the mantra.
This happened a couple months ago. I think it's just, and this is why I block. Cause I don't want to fucking see it. Like, it's not me putting on my blinders. It's me not trying to show this guy any more love than he's already been giving. And I don't need to see that type of hate on my personal timeline. So,
yep. And one more before we move on to real news. Dave Kluge.
Yeah.
I actually don't have a lot to say, really. I mean, silence says everything, right? The one person that didn't address it, the one person that was running around clicky, the one person that didn't have an opinion that, puts out tweets of, well, I don't give a shit. The golden boy puts out shits of, I don't care what people think about me. Well, thank God, and hopefully they don't give a shit about your takes, because they're absolutely dog shit when I see them 90% of the time, and that's about all I have to say about that. There's a person I have no use for in this industry. Like, I can dislike what the stoner did. I can dislike the things that Steffi said. If there's a person that I have just zero use for, and that every time I see their inside, I just look at it and I'm like, the fuck is the matter with you? Dave Kluge. So, look, like, I don't like throwing hate at somebody that's trying to stay clean, but if you're going to associate with it, you should probably wear it and address it too. But, I mean, really, I just wanted to point out how, and I could go back and find them and make a whole episode out of it. I won't subject my listeners to that. All 30 of them. Actually, I think there's like 90, but still. Yeah, I really don't have anything else to say about that. Probably didn't deserve the airtime, but since he was so closely associated, I feel like I should just throw that one out there too, as long as I'm riffing some dirty laundry. Like, yeah, just
there's no clue to us if he's reached out to her and just hasn't made a post about it. You figured someone who's been as close, who's been by her side. I mean,
if you're that public in your defense, you got to be that public in the downfall, in my opinion.
Like just something. Like something as easy as I've reached out to her, we've talked, and that's it. I mean, people are going to hate him regardless. Like,
Robbie
people
did it.
Want to find, yeah. I mean, Robbie did it. You saw Tim do it. Like you saw, like you've seen people who maybe aren't as close to her as him is. At least make some sort of attempt. Ray said something like it's not expected, but it's appreciated to know that other people will not stand by it or will at least show us something. So we've already given them a lot. I've never really had any personal issues with them.
I haven't either. I just think his takes suck. That's not a personal issue though. That's just
I'll be honest.
I don't agree with you. So
I don't pay attention to 85% of them. So I really can't give an opinion because I see a lot of takes that I see a lot of just bad takes that I fucking snuff through my memory.
No, because this version of fantasy Twitter, because it changes every year, this version of shit fantasy Twitter is a bunch of hot take artists. Period.
It's been rough.
Bad.
It's like high school with how bad it is. But
yeah.
We got one more thing. I don't know if you saw it. I think it happened a couple days ago, maybe yesterday. The FFPC. Someone on their social media account. They were closing into 10,000 followers. They posted, "What will it take for us to get to 10,000?" And it posted a picture of supermodels, saying, and they basically were trying to be tongue in cheek about it, but used the picture of supermodels wearing, lingerie, as a way to entice people to follow him. Of course, it backfired immediately. Obviously, a lot of people called him out.
Hold on, I gotta go see the follower count now. I know what it was when I looked last time.
It was down at least 30, shortly, like 10 minutes after. And of course, it's beautiful when FF Twitter, it's beautiful when Fantasy Football Twitter comes together and as unison to call out something bullshit like this. And what's even worse is the amount of people that came to the defensive FFPC, some of the people that worked there. So clearly it wasn't a one-person problem. It was almost like a company culture to use women in a way that demeans them and dehumanizes them as a way to gain leverage or gain followers or gain a following through, it was a horrible look. And I have no clue what's happened since. I have since unfollowed them too, because I don't, again, need that shit. And with the rise of Underdog, it's only going to be a matter of time.
They're actually net positive about 50 followers.
Oh, well, that's even sad. That's even, Jesus Christ, that's rough. 9.9K. Yeah, I don't know if they gained. I don't know, but either way,
wait,
it is what.
There was a draft tonight, wasn't there?
Was there? I don't know.
Are you in the garbage time league?
Oh, that's right. I am in the garbage.
That draft was tonight, I think.
Oh God. Well, we'll see what happens with an auto team. We'll see how I do with an auto.
You want to look at our auto draft teams real quick and just get off this shit?
All right, let's move on to
where the fuck?
Let's move on to some fun topics.
My fun topic right now is what the fuck happened in this auto draft. Oh God. Oh no.
Hold on. Don't.
Oh no.
I gotta see how I can even sign in.
This is bad.
Don't tell me.
My quarterbacks are Trey Lance and Derek Carr.
Oh jeez, that's horrible.
Amari Cooper, DJ Moore, Derrick Henry, Joe Mixon. That's actually pretty good. Darren Waller, Kareem Hunt, Fournette, Gallup, Duke Johnson somehow, Gerald Everett.
How is Duke? How did you even get auto drafted Duke Johnson?
I got 2 kickers. I got Greg Zuerlein and Will Lutz. I got 2 defenses, and I ended up with Gerald Everett.
That's hilarious.
Okay, so
I'm signing. I'm getting my
or waivers. Jesus, what the hell? I forgot that was tonight. Honestly,
I knew it was, but I knew it wasn't going to happen.
So I'm gonna go pick up Deshaun Watson and hope he starts, and we're gonna drop Drew Lock.
That's how much did that hurt you saying that?
We'll talk about it. And then,
oh fuck, where is it?
Because Deshaun Watson didn't go, so I'm gonna hope he plays. And yeah, I got nothing else. It's gonna be Deshaun Watson and Derek Carr, and cross my fingers, I guess.
Oh, where's my team?
That is fucking terrible.
I don't even see my team.
I didn't even know I forgot we were drafting, honestly. By the way, rule number 1, don't forget you're drafting, I guess. That did not go well on auto draft. I don't know why I keep I didn't agree to that league. I got thrown into the chat that said we're doing this league again.
I feel like that's how amazingly just how amazing things are with our relationship with Garbage Time.
Yeah. All right, let's talk Drew Lock, Teddy Bridgewater, shall we?
Sure.
All right. So I'll start, I guess. That only makes sense, right? Yeah.
Start. Yeah. I'm trying to fucking unlock my team here. Go ahead. You can give your take.
All right. So this only makes sense that I start. Teddy Bridgewater was named the starting quarterback of the Denver Broncos. And as a Drew Lock stan, I have to give my take. And first off, this is a completely floor start by Vic Fangio. They are not going for ceiling. They are not going to see what they have to say. They are not trying to see what they have in Drew Lock ahead of next season to start. They are saying that we're going to put Teddy Bridgewater in to game manage. And that is bad news for the wide receivers. I see a lot of people pumping up Jerry Jeudy. And I don't even know that it's a huge benefit for Jerry Jeudy, right? I mean, it puts Jeudy and Sutton both in the wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3 range, probably wide receiver 2 range. It's kind of like what they did with DJ Moore and Robbie Anderson last year. We've seen Teddy support more. To me, the thing that nobody's talking about, and I tweeted this earlier at Be Your Field Hop, the biggest benefit of Teddy Bridgewater starting is Javonte Williams and Melvin Gordon. Because what the Broncos are saying is this. We want somebody to not lose us the game at the quarterback situation, and that's the thing with Drew Lock, right? You're playing for upside. You're playing to throw from behind. You're risking turnovers. You're risking that quarterback costing you the game. With Bridgewater, you're saying we're going to game manage the pass attack, and we're going to go old school. We're going to try to win through the rushing attack and through defense. Not enough people. Everybody's talking about what it means for Sutton and Jeudy. Not enough people, to me, are talking about what it means to Javonte Williams and Melvin Gordon, and I think that this should raise them both up by at least a round, probably, in as far as what this is going to do to the running game. Because I think Teddy Bridgewater starting tells me we're not going to try to win through the air. We're going to try to manage games. We're going to try to lean on our defense. I mean, this is the same guy that took a San Francisco defense plus Colin Kaepernick to a Super Bowl. As a defensive coordinator. That's his model.
Yep.
So, to me, this is a bump up in Melvin Gordon, Javonte Williams. I'll get some numbers on it while Dan gives his take. But, people are saying you fade Sutton, you rise Jeudy. Sutton's already a 7th rounder. I don't think you fade Sutton out of the 7th round. He's already being drafted as a wide receiver, too. It's reasonable to expect that level of support. And here's the other thing, right? You're playing for the whole season. If you believe the Broncos defense is going to be that good, fine. Fade Cortland Sutton. If you believe the Broncos defense is not going to be shut down and they are going to have to throw some to win games and put a little bit more on the arm of the quarterback, Drew Lock's going to be back by week 4. Dan?
All right. I'm pulling up their schedule to kind of give myself an idea. So they start the season, Giants, Jaguars, at New York, home at Jacksonville, home against the Jets, home against the the Ravens, on the road against the Steelers. So weeks
a lot of winnable
1
games.
through 3 or 1 through 3 is against teams with losing records from last year. 2 of which were the 1 and 2 picks of this year's draft, and they go Ravens, Steelers, Raiders, Browns. Like, it gets rough for them mid. I thought this was a dumb decision because we already know what Teddy can give you. We already know that Teddy's game is short to intermediate area to let his receivers make plays. Teddy does not like to throw receivers open. He likes to throw to open receivers. This is a bump to Jeudy for me. I don't know how much of a bump, because I do believe they're going to try to lean on the run game more, whatever that means. Devontae Booker is also a part of this because he's the fucking pass-catching back. And we know that Teddy doesn't like to take off. He has no problem checking it down. So this may even see Booker get a climb. Not draftable, but definitely someone to keep your eye on. Especially
Melvin Gordon's a decent receiving back. Though.
It is. But I'm pretty sure Booker was the guy that was brought in to be that. Either way, it doesn't really matter because I still want to avoid both of them. Because if Gordon and Williams' roles are about the same, they're just going to cannibalize each other into a point where Javonte eventually takes over that starting role.
And I'm happy you bring that up because that brings me to a Josh Larkey tweet today.
Ooh, we love Josh Larkey here. Shout out Josh Larkey.
Shout out Josh Larkey. And I was going to save this for the advice session, but this is really sound advice. So, Jay Larkey tweets, by the way. Great mind, great up-and-coming analyst.
Even better person.
Even better person.
Even better person.
Even better than I, even better of a person than I am now.
Well, yeah.
Better than I can put that on, but at Jay Larkey tweets. Pro tip for people newer to fantasy football. In the final rounds of your draft, Count how many things need to fall into place for a player to be worth starting in your league. Target the players who need one thing to go right, not 3 to 4. So, here's the thing. You're in the running back dead zone, where both Melvin Gordon and Javonte Williams are being drafted. That's a place where the hot hand back, which could be either at this point, is going to have value, and they both only need one thing to go right to have running back 2 value in fantasy football. They're an injury away. They're one of or the other being ineffective away from having that level of value. The Denver Broncos ran the football 440 times last year. It was a 215, 180, 45, 50 split, but they ran the football 400 times last year. There is enough for both guys to give you week-to-week value, and they are one thing away from being an RB2 that you can plug into your flex and draft as an RB3 or 4.
You also have to look at ADP costs of this. So, speaking of ADP costs, Dan, what is Javonte Williams' ADP?
Well, I was going to ask, or I was going to pull it up. What is Javonte Williams' right ADP?
Javonte Williams is 507.
Okay, who's
I'm
he
sorry,
around?
but I'm not taking Javonte Williams.
Who's he around?
Who's he around?
Because it's not the ADP either. It's who are you taking him over? Give me some running backs he's around. Give me some wide receivers he's around.
It's more of the receivers, because the 5th round is where the first dead zone
for running backs is.
Nope, I don't want to pull up just.
So give me the running backs first.
We're gonna look at the running backs going around Javonte Williams. Same round. So only one other running back is there right now as of August 26th. Kareem Hunt's going 2 spots ahead at 505.
Which is right. Kareem Hunt should go ahead.
Chase Edmonds is going at 511. Those are the only other running backs going in the 5th round.
I'd rather have Edmonds. Javonte Williams to me is a 6th rounder.
Going into the 6th round, Raheem Mostert, I expect that to go down because he's hurt.
Yep.
Damian Harris, I expect him to go up.
We'll talk about that in a minute. But yes, I agree.
Trey Sermon.
Again, Trey Sermon's kind of the same situation, right? It's you need one thing to go right for Trey Sermon, but he's in the Kyle Shanahan offense, so they're going to find a way to use him. But it's the same thing for both of those. That's that one thing to go right here is Trey Sermon, who I drafted earlier today. Raheem Mostert, I mean, look, they're in a Shanahan offense, so you expect it to work, but you should expect him to run in Denver. Who else?
All right, so 6'11" after Sermon. 7th round, you have Michael Carter, 701. It's still a bit rich, especially right now when he's not the starter.
Yeah, that's actually down. Down 3 or 4 spots from when we talked about it last week, though.
He's moved down 2 spots. When we talked on the way back from Ohio, he's 6'11". I expect that to keep going down because of where he's at in the depth chart.
He needs to be about around 8.
Melvin Gordon 705, so he's going 2 full rounds. Fine, and I'm still even concerned about that. I'm sorry, I don't like taking running backs in ambiguous backfields in the first generally 6 rounds, 7 rounds.
Well, I like taking running backs in ambiguous backfields because when you get out of the first 5 rounds, all you have is ambiguous backfields.
Then why? Then just wait. Then wait. Why are you taking Javonte Williams at the 505?
I'm not. But
when you can at least get. I know. I'm saying that's a point as a whole. When you get Damian Williams around after that,
because Damian Williams is going to leapfrog him before we get to Labor Day weekend.
He should. You're right. He should. And like. It's
who are the wide receivers?
Philip Lindsay is a starting running back in Houston.
Maybe.
And he's going at the 9-11.
Ambiguous backfield than what you'd expect to be a worse offense, though, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So, but
again, it's all about ADP costs. And it's all about what you want. So you also have wide receivers.
Yeah, this is what I wanted. Who's the wide receivers?
All right, so we'll go from where Javonte is.
Yep. Give me a couple around Javonte and give me a couple around Melvin.
Yeah. So you have in the 5th round. I'm just gonna rifle these off, not do one at a time. You have Chris Godwin, Tyler Lockett, Adam Thielen, Brandon Ayuk going ahead of him. Behind them, you have DJ Moore, Chase Claypool, T. Higgins.
Everybody but Brandon Ayuk is such a worlds away better value, 2 tiers ahead of where you're at in running backs there.
And then you have around Melvin Gordon, you have the aforementioned Jerry Jeudy, Jamar Chase, Antonio Brown, which keeps moving up. I don't like that. Kenny Galladay. Behind him, Devonta Smith, Juju, newly re-signed extension Robbie Anderson, and then the aforementioned Cortland Sutton, 801, Debo 804, Laviska, Tyler Boyd. That 8th round with Sutton, Samuel, Laviska, and Tyler Boyd, that's sex.
That it is, but that's also the area where you're drafting wide receivers for their upside. So I think the Melvin pick around those guys makes a lot more sense than the Javonte Williams pick and the guys he's around. Because you're drafting Javonte Williams a maybe in round 5 around a bunch of guys that are sure things. You get down to that round 7, 8 with Melvin Gordon, you're drafting a bunch of receivers at upside that Tyler Boyd is the best steal there, by the way. Tyler Boyd is an absolute steal in every draft, so he's excluded from the statement.
And Laviska and more on him later.
Well,
Laviska's big too.
But Boyd's done it. Laviska hasn't, and that's the point that I'm making, is you're drafting...
Well, sure.
You're drafting Laviska at upside, and Melvin Gordon's giving you some fantasy value over the years. Now, granted, this is a guy that was going 2nd, 3rd round the last 3 years. Obviously, that's fallen off. But, I think you can make just as much of an argument for the floor of Melvin Gordon, especially if Javonte Williams is ineffective or hurt or ends up that way. One thing go right over, drafting Laviska Shenault at upside, or, Robbie Anderson in an offense with Sam Darnold, and then DJ Moore, Terrace Marshall. He is 2A, 2B there, maybe. I like Robbie Anderson a lot. Don't get me wrong. I've been a Robbie Anderson stan the last couple of years, but you get what I'm saying.
Well, and let's also go back to, to Larky's tweet does at the end of your draft, dart throws end of your draft. You don't take dart throws in the 5th and 7th round.
You're kind of starting to take dart throws in the 7th round, given those players you named.
I'm taking
You're
dart
just
throws
taking
on guys that have
high percentage dart throws.
Yeah, my dart throw on Tyler Boyd doesn't even feel like a dart throw because we anticipate Cincinnati to throw the ball.
Well, I already told you Tyler Boyd's the exception to everything I'm saying. So
I know, but even with Laviska, with what I expect for him to see an uptick in targets with the ETN because of what Laviska's been able to do since college, and that's be in every down usage type of player.
We'll get into
I know that he hasn't done it yet, but it's
and he
all
hasn't.
about knowing who's there.
What stopped him from doing it?
Well, he was a rookie last year.
Yeah,
playing with playing with a quarterback situation that was fucking horrible.
Well,
it wasn't just Minshew; it was Lutton.
It wasn't Minshew; it was Lutton and everything else. And then you bring in Lawrence on a team that's trying to bud. You still have Chark there. You have all the reports about Marvin Jones. Look, you don't like ambiguous backfields. That's an ambiguous wide receiver situation, and you're just taking the best option available, right? It's no different with Melvin Gordon. It's an ambiguous backfield situation. You're trying to pick who's the guy that's going to get 200 carries plus receiving work. Melvin Gordon's likely to get receiving work. I'd say 225 touches from Melvin Gordon is not out of the realm of possibility. That's an RB2 in the 7th round. That's exceeding draft value.
And
it's not sexy. It doesn't feel good.
That's if he's this, because he's also battling an injury, and it's about again what we talked about.
He's banged up every now and again.
I know he's always fucking banged up. It's also based on the position. It's also I want to have my running back short up before I have to make decisions.
Oh, I do
based
too.
on this Denver backfield, and I would rather take my dart throws on receivers because I know if it's not them, I drop them and I can find better valuable replacements on the waiver wire than I can with running backs. I drop them running backs early, and then if I want to get cute, I take them late on these backfields that all it takes is one thing, or it's taking fucking Ty Johnson, who right now is starting running back from New York. Ty Johnson's not very good, but if he's going to get starter snaps right away, that's a value. And it's like even with like a guy like Devonta Booker, who I'm not saying to draft, but if he's going to get
Devonta Booker isn't a thing. He's never.
But if he's
going
to somehow be the pass catching back in Denver,
no, he's not.
With the check down, with the check down warrior like Teddy Bridgewater, I don't think it's going to be Melvin Gordon either.
Melvin Gordon.
3 years ago, it could have been Melvin Gordon.
Why don't you think it's going to be Melvin Gordon, though? What has he done in the receiving game to make you think that he's not going to get the targets over Devontae Booker? I mean, are you telling me that historically, because Devontae Booker has been in the league for a while too, that Devontae Booker has been a better receiving back than Melvin Gordon?
No, it's not Devontae Booker. God damn it. Being thrown off here. It's Stephen Scott's there. It's not going to be Royce. Oh, fucking Mike Boone. Booker left. Why didn't you correct me that Booker left to New York?
Well, I pulled up our lads to look at it, and then I never actually read it. I don't think Booker's been there for 2 years.
No. He's there. He's in New York now. He's the
You just made an entire argument for Devontae Booker on the fact that he's not there.
Yikes.
Welcome to the type of quality analysis you get here. So, again, what is stopping Melvin Gordon from being the receiving back on this team? Melvin Gordon...
It might be second-round pick Javonte Williams.
You think they're going to give Javonte Williams out of the gate 45, 50
I think it's who's
targets?
ever the best pass. I think it's going to be based on who's ever the best pass pro. It's the same situation in LA with the Rams. Who's ever the best pass blocking running back will get those valuable pass catching downs.
I don't know. I don't have statistics on pass blocking, but I know that the veterans are usually better at pass blocking than the rookies. That's just
you would hope so.
Stands to reason, so. Right? So, I mean, the point is this. It ain't sexy, although he did average 4.6 yards per attempt last year. Holy shit, I didn't realize it was that high. Talking about Melvin Gordon.
Good for Melvin Gordon.
I didn't realize that it was that high. But it's not going to be sexy, but it's smart, is what I'm saying. Now, wide receivers are smarter, but... If you're in a situation where you need a running back or you need to go get a third or a fourth running back and you're starting to take those dart throws, look, you got a guy in Melvin Gordon that easily could be 200, 225 touches. That's not to say Javonte isn't either, right? I mean, they were 215 for Gordon in the rushing game and 1 something for Phillip Lindsay. This is a team that knows how to use 2 backs.
Yeah, Melvin Gordon had 247 touches. I don't see his targets. I don't have a whole lot of them.
He had 44 targets and 215 rushes per.
So he had 200
pro football
259
touches or opportunities. Sorry, 259 opportunities last year, and then you also had Phillip Lindsay, who had 118 rushes and 14 targets. So I mean, he had 128, and then you had a few going to Royce Freeman as well. So,
either way, I'm still taking receivers in this point. But
if
you're going to take a dart throw on the Denver back, you're
take the cheaper one.
You're going to take Melvin Gordon.
Take the cheaper one, yeah.
All right, we've talked about this backfield for
that. Well, we have.
Jesus Christ!
But
all right, what's the other piece?
Hey, my point stands. Damn it! All right, let's go talk about another backfield. Let's go talk about the Rams.
All right.
So, Sony Michel was traded to the Rams. I'm not going to get into the draft compensation or anything because I don't know it. We'll figure that out when we're...
It was a 4th-round pick and then something else.
Okay, great.
And that does mean something a little bit.
Well, it really shores up 2 things, right? Sony Michel suddenly has value again. He's back from the dead because he has just as much, if not a better shot than Darrell Henderson to try to regenerate his career in L.A. This should throw some cold water on Darrell Henderson's ADP, which is good for everyone.
Henderson he's moved back 1 slot. As of right now, 2 days after the trade, he's moved back.
Wow.
This is per ADP. He's moved back 1 draft slot.
Well, he should move back
Michel's
further.
moved up a lot.
Michel should move up, right? And I think that Sony Michel does have an edge over Darrell Henderson, right? You just look at what they were coming out of college, what they've done in the NFL. Sony Michel, if healthy, has an edge over Darrell Henderson. But neither of those guys is who you should be most excited for in this trade. It's Damien Harris.
Well, we'll get to the Patriots backfield after we talk about the Rams. You got the Rams backfield itself. It's a lot more to talk about than New England because we already know.
It just cleared the way for Damien Harris. Wheels up.
Yeah, it shouldn't be wheels up. I mean, it is, but the value should never have changed because we already knew that Sony Michel wasn't a factor for Damien Harris anyways, because he's been a cut candidate
It's just
all fucking offseason.
the threat of, and I guess it's not.
It's not even a threat. Like he wasn't even like it was to me. He was never a threat. It was they're gonna prance him out there, and then they'll cut him or they'll try to trade him. What this tells me is that Sean McVay decided to not wait until he got cut. He decided to spend some draft capital to get the one guy he has a role for, because he doesn't just trade this pick if he doesn't have a thought in mind with how he wants to use Michel.
Right.
We know that both Michel and Henderson will not receive bell cow work. We know that their needs can't hold up for it, and their roles don't need to be that. Michel's a better pass blocking back. He's going to get all those important pass catching down work because he's a better pass protector. You just have to hope that Darrell Henderson doesn't lose too much of the goal line work to Michel. I'm avoiding Henderson no matter what. Michel going in the 11th round right now, that's the dart throw. Fuck taking one on Melvin Gordon in the 7th round. Give me Michel in the 11th round.
That's gonna come up though.
It might. I thought that Darrell Henderson's ADP would have dropped at least by a round already, and it's only dropped by one draft slot.
We'll check it next week and see how much that's adjusted though. Because
if Michel gets single digits, then I'm out, because like we don't know what his role is. There is no clear definition of his role, and then at that point you're getting into where I want to take my quarterbacks to single QB, and then where I'll start looking at tight ends if it's not premium or two-darted.
The fact is Michel and both of these guys now end up in that, and it's the same statement for both of them, but it does different things for both of them. They both end up in that, now I need one thing to go wrong. Or you need one thing to go right for them to see bell cow work, right?
I don't think they'll ever will, though, because we know that Michel can hold up to it. And we know that Henderson's never handled a full workload.
So what happens if one of them get hurt and
they're
running out? Are they running out Jake Funk? Or are you still?
They might be running out Jake Funk, Xavier Jones. They might bring another guy. I think.
Yeah. So anyway,
I don't think anything's changed to how we view them. Maybe Henderson gets some extra work early on.
I think things have changed definitely for how you view them. I don't know how you can say that they don't.
Not Michel. I'm sorry, just for Henderson.
How does this not throw cold water on Darrell? It doesn't change how you view Darrell Henderson, because we were both already saying he was going too high. This should change how the community views Darrell Henderson as a take
this is going
to.
This should. From what I've seen, at least on Twitter, which I know is not the minority voice here, is that this shouldn't change anything because everyone fucking hates Michel. But
well, and I get it, but he's going to a new offense, a more dynamic offense that should see an increased opportunity share as well. He's going to have a chance, right? And as long as he stays below round 8, I'll bet on that chance.
Yeah, as long as he doesn't get into where Melvin Gordon is right now.
If he gets to where Melvin Gordon is, I don't think his volume is as insulated as Melvin Gordon's is going to be. So,
and Michel might get off to, like, he may not get his full work of reps right away. He's got to get acclimated into the offense. This is, he still has to, if he's going to be the primary pass protector, he's going to learn blocking assignments and shit like that. So we may see Henderson hit his bell cow work share numbers early season, and then they'll start to dip down as Michel is getting worked more and more into the offense. And don't fucking forget, if one of Funk or Xavier Jones shows any fucking life, we've seen McVay use 3-backs and annoy the fuck out of everybody. There's nothing stopping them or him from bringing one of these guys on if they start to show something more and more. We already knew that a veteran was going to come to this backfield. This shouldn't shock anybody. But McVay spending a draft pick at least gives me an idea. He basically handpicked his complement to Henderson to the best of his ability, of course, because not every player is available. But he still traded a pick before he could get cut. He wanted Michel for a reason. He has a role for him. And that alone is going to give Michel value, because I think he'll get at least his touches, maybe not in the first couple of weeks, but he should see more of his role.
Here's a
be defined
fun one for you, by the way, just to throw a little bit more on the Sony Michel fire. 4th in yards created per touch, Again,
he looked
also fourth on stacked front carry rate.
Efficiency.
So,
yeah, decent efficiency numbers from what I remember seeing people post.
He did.
He's a number one play. He's a number one viewed player on Player Profiler right now.
Second breakaway run, 15th in juke rate, first in yards per
6.5
touch.
yards per touch. That's pretty goddamn good for.
Yeah, Sony Michel is a guy that if you can get a value on him come draft time, which you may not be able to, but if you can.
You don't want him to get a full workload too. You want him the same way that McVay wanted to use Henderson. He has a touch count to these guys in his head, snap shares in his head to these guys.
You still want it to be 60-40, 70-30. You just want it to lean Michel.
I want it to be like I think eventually it'll be like a 45-45.
So where's the other team? Where's the other team go? The other guys?
It'll be between Jones and Funk.
Give me the 10% Jake Funk.
Yeah, like it's not going to be just these two guys. I just don't see that. Maybe if Akers was still healthy between him and Henderson, sure, but there's going to be at least another back involved. Not to a point where it's going to mean much, but
I don't know the drop off from Cam Akers to Sony Michel is that great.
It's a drop off. It's a big drop off.
No,
we're not going to get into that argument.
I don't think it is.
It's a big argument. Let's talk about something that we do agree on. Damian fucking Harris.
Wheels up. Well, not wheels up. You're taxiing to the runway. Wheels up for Damian Harris is when Mac Jones is a starter. But
God, I hope so. I hope he gets pass catching work.
But any perceived threat to Damian Harris getting touches is gone.
Like you're okay, guys. We're gonna see. We're gonna see some of Stevenson.
You will, but Damian Harris is gonna get first crack at this. James White will get receiving downs.
Yeah. No. Don't expect Damian Harris to get an 85% plus opportunity share. And that's okay. Because as we've seen year over year, that you don't need to have that high volume to be an effective running back. As soon as Mac Jones takes a starting role, which could be week 1. So it's what the beat writers are saying out in New England, and that he could be the starter week 1. Then I get really fucking excited because now there's going to be none of this Cam Newton fucking 1-yard touchdown run on the goal line, which will happen if he's a starter. We will see Cam Newton vulture Damian Harris touchdown. We saw it happen all year last year. Wheels up for Damian Harris. Let's just hope he gets that uptick and pass catching work when Mac Jones finally takes the field.
Well, and it's not the uptick in pass catching work; it's the uptick in goal line work for him over Cam that I'm really looking forward to for Damian Harris. That's why you're not wheels up. It has nothing to do with the pass catching work to me. I think that he'll get a little bit of that, kind of in the same way that Deion Lewis did a couple years back. He'll get a little bit of that, with the majority of it still going to James White. The real benefit of Mac over Cam is the goal line work for Damian Harris.
And I've already baked that into how I feel about
Gonna be worried about that, but
yeah, I have a lot of Damian Harris shares.
This breaks open the opportunity thing. By the way, I don't buy into the Matt Kelly shares bullshit. Like, I get the sentiment of
it wasn't about Matt Kelly. This was another Twitter thing that happened.
Oh,
yesterday.
Whatever. I don't give a shit about the shares thing because I have shares, right? We talk about ADP, stock up, stock down, etc., etc. Right? Like, could give a shit about that terminology. Own versus roster, I care about.
Yeah.
Been trying to cut own out of my terminology because that has a negative connotation. Shares? Nah, man, I'm putting stock into a player. Stock up, stock down, whatever. I'm putting stock into a player. I'm investing in a player. I
have a lot of Damian Harris on my rosters.
Yeah, there you go.
A lot of roster Damian Harris because we knew who he was as a player coming out of Alabama, and he was waiting in the window, waiting behind the scenes for Sony Michel to finally be let go.
Yep.
All right,
Travis Etienne.
Oh boy,
done for the season.
Well, he's on IR. More likely done for the season.
More than likely done for the season. Liz Frank.
In Liz Frank surgery, our boy Miguel Chapin, friend of the show, a personal friend of ours, did a little deep dive into the production post-surgery for this Liz Frank surgery. and it's not good. I mean, it's pretty fucking bad.
I
So now you're betting against history on him, on ETN being effective beyond his 1 or 2 years.
Who are the backs that had to come back from this? Because I don't know.
I'll find his posts. There's been a lot of misquotes on, like, Julio Jones is his injury, or Sammy Watkins and Marquise Brown.
It's a different position, though. You don't have to cut as much.
And Brown was the same. I'm sorry. Let me find.
It's a different position, and I see why this. Finally knowing what that injury is has an impact on the running back position. It's actually probably worse than an ACL. But, I would just be interested in who's come back from it and, what was the...
All right, here we go.
Yep, let's go.
Cedric Benson. After his surgery, never played again.
Okay,
Amir
but he
Abdullah.
was already... Hold on. I'm going to address these as you go. Cedric Benson had that injury, I believe, with the Bengals, and he was already in his 30s, maybe? It was a second team. I know that. I'm going to look that up.
All right. Anyways, Amir Abdullah, career backup.
Well, yeah, he was going to be a backup beforehand.
I'm going to go other positions because I still think it matters.
No, I'm not saying I'm not trying to say it doesn't matter. What I'm saying is, yeah, Cedric Benson was 30. Yeah, he was beyond 30 when he had the injury. And Amir Abdullah was not established yet. That's why I asked. I'm just trying to get a little more context here. Keep going.
I'll get you. Santonio Holmes. Sharp decline year out of the league within 2 years. Sharp decline year after he was out of the league within 2 years.
So that would have been when he was with the Jets, right?
I believe so. He was in his late 20s.
Yeah, he was 20. Let's see. Well, I'm assuming. I mean, Santonio Holmes only had 1,000 yard season. I didn't know this. Santonio Holmes only had 1,000 yard season. Do you know that?
Surprised he even had one.
And then after that, 746, 654. Then went to the Jets. Who was his quarterback?
Oh, at that point, that might be what, Chad Pennington?
I think it was Sanchez.
Sanchez.
Yeah, it was Sanchez.
All right.
His quarterback.
Ronnie Brown, sharp decline, and then career backup.
Ronnie Brown, yeah. There's a guy I hadn't thought about in a while.
And
I remember. First Wildcat guy.
Yep. Completely destroyed New England in that 4-touchdown game.
He had 1,000 yard season. I wish I knew what year these injuries were. As I'm just looking at their history. He had 1,000 yard season ever.
That was probably that season too.
And then from there, yeah, he kind of went down. He had a 200 carry season in Miami. Well, he was with Miami the whole time in 2010. Yeah, curious what year he had that. But he only looks like he had one good season ever anyway. So, and
Darren McFadden.
The sharp decline would have been after, by the way, on Ronnie Brown. The sharp decline would have been 2010, 2011 time frame is where I see the drop off. Because he went 907, 1008, 602, 916, 648, 734. Dropped down to 136, but that was also his age 30 season.
Sure. Darren McFadden,
Okay.
sharp decline, brief rebound in Dallas. So this was when he was with the Raiders still.
Let's see. Darren McFadden, his rebound in Dallas was his age 28 season. So, yeah, I can see that. That one makes sense. Because you would have... So the sharp decline came in Oakland, yeah. Sharp decline came in Oakland after the 2012 season.
Too. He had a lot of injury issues.
He had
too.
216 carries that year, but only 700 yards, so he wasn't exactly efficient before the injury.
Maurice Jones-Drew played one more season with sharp decline, so obviously older in his career.
And I think that's the trend we're seeing here, right? And I don't ever want to go against what Miguel has said, but let's see. He played one more season and had a sharp decline. That one more season was age 29, and he had actually been in decline the 2 years prior. So, there's that.
So he had one. He did post the one success story, at least in his mind. That was defensive back for the Ravens, Jimmy Smith, hurt in 2014, and when he's healthy, he plays well. That is, I can definitely vouch for that.
He was hurt in 2014, and he would have been 26 at that point in time. So here's what I'm picking up, given that context. If you're older, it's a death sentence. For a young, and we know this with the human body anyway, you don't recover as well when you're older. So for a back just coming out of college that's a little bit younger, I don't think it's a death sentence for if you took him in Dynasty or anything like that. Sit on it, wait and see.
Yeah, you're not going to trade him.
Yeah, that's basically where I was getting at with this, is that when you look at the list of backs, and I appreciate Miguel doing that research, when you look at the list of players that were listed off and kind of looking at, given the context clues when the drop-off happened, they were either kind of already showing other signs of decline, and they were also, it's not an or, it was an and, they're also 28, 29, 30 years old. Which in running back years is pretty old.
So Amir Abdullah was 23 when he.
But the Amir Abdullah thing is not a player that ever established, right? It was a guy that everybody thought was going to be good.
I mean, you can say the same thing about ATN too, though. ATN, we all think he was going to be good. I mean, fuck, Amir was a second-round ADP during his blowout preseason.
Sure.
And he was a second-round pick.
But I will say this too, right?
Pick's a better prospect,
right?
Well, let's not take it.
He's a better prospect. That's not where I was going to go. I was just going to say that Pick's bust, right? So was Amir Abdullah bad because he had the injury, or was Amir Abdullah bad because he was just bad and Pick's bust?
I mean, he was what, 1 or 2 years into the NFL at that point. For running back, yes, you have a pretty good idea.
And he hadn't done a lot by that point in time either. Everybody thought.
Also, I get it.
Yeah. So that's I get the Amir Abdullah argument, but for somebody that had been in the league 1 or 2 years and not done much, and everybody was just anticipating a breakout, there's nothing definitively that says it's going to happen. Same thing with ETN. There's nothing that definitively said he was going to be good other than he was a great prospect. What I will say is this: he is younger. That appears to be working in his favor, given the players that you named off. Because other than Amir Abdullah, they were older.
Yeah, and again.
And
we look at the history because we want to get an idea of some more reasonable expectations. What we did with Cam Akers, with the Achilles injury, and we've all since have cooled down and calmed down on that one. ETN will be the same thing. It'll be what happens. I've seen a lot of parallels drawn to the Chris Carson Rashad Penny in Seattle, where Penny tore his ACL, got hurt again when he came back the following year. Chris Carson's been that guy. That's more of a James Robinson. No, because that's
James Robinson's a community.
Clearly the biggest winner of this.
And he's a community darling anyway. He's going to get another chance to show that he can do it again. And yes, when you show you can do it consistently, absolutely James Robinson's going to have a crack at it. James Robinson was already going to split with Travis Etienne, though.
He was going to get all the first and second down work. That was something that
Urban Meyer was very clear about that. Whether you wanted to believe it or not.
This is why I don't think he was going to. Rating 10 just asked us, where does James Robinson rank on your board now? So I don't do rankings. You're going to find far better people for that.
No, but I'm still going to give you an answer, though, that James Robinson is.
So his ADP right now, I'll give you his ADP before you answer, because I think that I don't know if it'll be baked into it, but we'll see. So as of right now, he is RB22, 405. We already know he's going to get first and second down work. We already know he's going to get all the goal line work. That was the one thing that was holding him back was, what does ETN take away?
Put him up towards, you said he's 405?
He's nestled in between. I'm going to give you 3 above, 3 behind for running backs. Josh Jacobs, Terrell Henderson, Miles Sanders are in front of him. Mike Davis, Miles Gaskin, Kareem Hunt are the 3 behind them. These are relatively round and a half.
He might be about right. I have a hard time throwing him above Jacobs. I could put him ahead of Henderson and maybe Sanders because I don't know what to expect out of Philly at all.
I'll be interested to see. and this is why I do
But I think that
like Chenault getting some of the work that was lost, some of the targets that was lost from ETN. I do think Robinson will see some more targets. I think Chenault sees probably more.
I think that
in terms of what was lost.
I think that mid-4th round ADP is about right for Robinson. He's a guy that I would have actually had faded more than that beforehand. So I think that mid-4th round ADP
He's moved up a bit because I think he was a 7th round pick.
Yeah.
And since news, he's moved up this far.
And that's I probably would have had him closer to 6. But, yeah, I think he's nestled about right there in the 4th round if I'm looking at it. I think that I would probably take him over Henderson. It's close with Sanders, and I probably would not take him over Jacobs. So I think he's about in the right spot at that mid-4th round ADP.
Running 10, we just talked about the Henderson, Michel. Henderson has only dropped about a spot. Michel's obviously moved up from undrafted to 11th round. The stark rise in Michel isn't shocking. Henderson barely moving backwards is a little surprising to me.
We'll check in on it next week, too, and see where it's at. But
we're going to look at where it's at next week when a lot of drafts will start to take place in home leagues. So we'll get a better idea.
To sum that up, though, I was a little more bullish on Michel. I think that he should probably jump up into that where you start to see the dead zone. That's, 7th round, around where Melvin Gordon is. Whereas I think it throws some cold water on Darrell Henderson, and I wouldn't be surprised if Michel ends up out touching him and outperforming him. So
I actually wouldn't be shocked if Henderson ends up where Javonte is now in the early 5th round, and Michel probably ends up in that 9th to 10th round. I don't think Michel moves up much. A lot of people don't like him. If he was more of a darling, it'd be different. The fact that people have been shitting on Michel since the draft pick was made.
The efficiency numbers are good, though. He's going to land in a spot where he has opportunity, and I think that
which is all good. We just know that he's never going to get bell cow work, so I think that's going to keep his ADP suppressed to a point where I'm fine making that
6th, 7th, 8th round, you're not getting bell cow work anyway. I don't even think he gets that.
So. No, like I don't think Michel gets to the 6th, 7th, 8th.
I'm just saying that's where where I'm comfortable with him. I don't know if he gets there or not because of what the rest of the community thinks. If they don't, then I'm going to perceive it as a giant value. I just think that's where I'm comfortable with him.
Sure.
With knowing Gordon's going in the 7th, I think that I'm comfortable with Michel in the same way, but for different reasons, right? Melvin Gordon's a volume darling to me. I think he's more of a volume play, not an efficiency play. Michel, I think, showed through his efficiency numbers and with the offense he's going to be on that he's not going to need the same number of touches to produce at the same level.
He shouldn't.
I think he's going to be a lot more efficient as long as he's healthy.
Yeah, like he definitely moves onto an offense. Obviously better offensively, and the offensive line, if healthy, because they're very much, old and fragile with no doubt behind them. But the offensive line can remain relatively healthy. I do like Michel, and I'm really interested to see what his role ends up evolving into when we get into the early mid part of the season. Like I do think he gets eased in a little bit more, and Henderson sees an uptick, which means you're going to get people seeing fucking victory laps. At that point, I might just fucking trade Henderson. Or at least try to. But, as we talked about with James Robinson, I don't think he ends up at the 4th round. I think he ends up in the 3rd round at some point. That mid to late 3rd round spot, right around the range of where Chris Carson, DeAndre Swift, David Montgomery is going. In that early to mid 3rd round, because there's a lot of James Robinson truthers we saw last year. 95% opportunity share. He took every single goal line rep, which I don't know if that'll change because there is still Carlos Hyde, and Urban Meyer fucking loves himself some Carlos Hyde. And he is now the new Frank Gore. He is now the what is dead may never die.
Interesting how he's just followed Frank Gore. But no, I would agree with that on Robinson. I think that, like I said, I think the players he's going around mid 4th makes sense. You were to go up to the 3rd, okay, can see that. And yeah, for Michel and Henderson, I think that. I mean, it's two players going opposite directions, right? You throw cold water on Henderson, and it's going to light a little bit of a fire under Michel.
We have to see if there's how much he even drops. Like it's only It's only been a couple days.
I
He's
want to
only
see where it.
dropped
I want to
once.
see where it is next week.
I would not be shocked if Henderson's only. I do think he ends up where Javante is right now, in that
In the
mid to
fifth
early
round.
fifth round. And I still don't want it.
It's all
I'm
right.
still
Give
out
me
of it.
Sony Michel around Melvin, and I'll probably like Sony Michel a little more than Melvin in that scenario.
I feel better about. I mean, it's tough because both players are an injury to the 1A, 1B around them away from being effective.
I just
To me, it's all about ADP. Like
I like
I'm
the
not
efficiency metrics a little more on
Yeah.
Michel than I do the volume metrics on Gordon. I will always take efficiency over volume.
Yeah, I just don't want to, put that first running back dart throw that early on in the draft. But that's just me personally. So,
Yeah.
what other news do we got? Is that the only thing that we have to talk about?
No, Trevor
That
Lawrence was named the Jaguars starter.
Yeah, color me shocked, guys. Gardner Minshew can finally take his shit now.
I don't know what
He
that
said
means, but
he said in a interview that he was so confident and he was so sure of himself that he was going to be hyper competitive for the number one spot even after Lawrence was drafted, that he would not take a shit until told otherwise.
I think that
So
might
now-
have been a meme.
No. I watched the clip. Like he said this.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, like he said it more tongue in cheek. Obviously, he was joking, but he said now that he will not. He's so sure of himself and confident enough that he would not take a number 2 because he doesn't believe that he's a number 2. Which makes me love him even more. Like we are very much a pro Minshew show.
We are a pro Minshew show.
He needs to leave Jacksonville. I want to see him go to Indy. I heard this take on the Podfathers one with on the Decision Point podcast, which great podcast, new. I want to see Minshew go to the Colts and try to compete for that backup and maybe even push Carson Wentz. We love Minshew and we know what he is as a talent. So I'd like to see him leave Jacksonville and get a shot somewhere else.
Sure. All right, let's look at some of these camp battles and look at some preseason metrics and see what we can make out of it. I'm going to start with Washington, New England here. Nothing for Washington. I want to look at the New England quarterback situation, though.
Okay.
Cam Newton looks like he's still getting starter reps. Only 7 attempts. It's 4-7, not great. Mac Jones still hyper efficient. Ramondre Stevenson had a huge game.
He is the preseason between him and Quez Watkins. Those are your preseason MVPs for offense, easily.
Indeed, and I don't need to see Haskins, another good game for the Steelers. Okay, don't need to see that. Nothing we really need to see with the Eagles. Just trying to work through here a little bit because I didn't look at any of this ahead of time, and I probably should have. Nothing there. Nothing. Bills, Lions. I don't have anything I really need to pay attention to. Dolphins, Bears.
It's going to be Dalton.
14.
It's been announced that Dalton's starting week 1. So
And that's not at all surprising either.
no, it's just stupid.
It is. It is. Fields, though, look good.
He's it's going to be great.
I'm looking at the wrong week, by the way. I'm looking at last week. Fields did not look good last
The
week.
whole team against Buffalo looked fucking terrible.
Looked really bad.
I mean, Mitchell Trubisky had his revenge game. That's for sure.
Yeah. For the Patriots, Mac Jones still looked a little bit better. Trubisky did have his revenge game. It will be Andy Dalton week 1. We'll see how long that lasts for them.
Hopefully
Looking
one
at
quarter.
some other situations, you got the Jets and the Packers. Let's look at the Jets backfield. Michael Carter, 10 carries, 5.2 a carry. Pretty good. The fact that he's getting that volume doesn't bode well, but he was efficient with that volume and did some things with it. Corey Davis had a big game.
It's always really based. So when you're out there looking at preseason, it's always good to know.
When.
It's really crucial to know when they got their playing time.
Yep.
And what position depth are they playing against? Justin Fields has only been playing with the 2s.
He will play with the
2s and
1.
3s.
He is going to play with the starting
The one-
offensive line
About fucking time.
later.
He should have been doing that
this week.
throughout
So,
all of offseason and preseason.
I agree. All right, looking at Lions Steelers, I want to look at the Lions receiving stuff. St. Brown was 2 of 12, so I mean, not a ton there to glean from what they're doing.
It's the Lions.
It's Lions. Preseason's hard to glean anything from, really, especially if you're just box score watching. It's more so who didn't play or who didn't do things you can tell a little bit more from than anything. So
yeah.
But
But seeing where people are being slayed, like when are they getting their snaps and their opportunities? It's the only thing I really care about from preseason.
right, and I don't know if there's anything huge there. So let's look at some of this other stuff. Chad Beebe, leading receiver for the number 3 job in Minnesota.
I don't know why. Yeah, sure. Like it should be Amir Smith-Marset, but we saw this last year with BC Johnson getting reps over Justin Jefferson. I think we'll see the same switch within a couple weeks.
Gerald Everett, good news on him. Favorite quote: becoming a favorite target for Russell Wilson, which you'd hope.
Sure.
Cortland Sutton not expected to be on a snap count. There's some injury news.
He's supposed to play, which is great. He's supposed to play this preseason game.
Kerryon Johnson now a free agent. He was waived from IR.
Yep. Injury designation. So we can.
Trey Lance and Jimmy Garoppolo alternating first team reps.
Kyle Shanahan has yet to actually announce who the starter is for week 1.
Although,
I mean, we all think it's going to be Garoppolo.
We all think it's going to be Garoppolo, and if you look at kind of how things have gone, Twitter's hanging Garoppolo with everything he does and praising Lance for everything he does, and it's really a lot of the same in the passing game. So, just
Trey Lance has been very, very much up and down.
He has been.
But the fact that he's getting.
But you know what? That's what I expected out of Trey Lance. Trey Lance was always an upside draft pick. He was never somebody that was coming in NFL ready. So,
yep, we all knew that.
Jamar Chase, quote, had a fantastic week of practice. Didn't have a fantastic week of other things, from what I hear. So,
oh my God, let's just fucking. That feels very.
Yeah.
From what I've seen and from some of the comments made, who are in connection with him and his girlfriend, doesn't seem like something seems very fishy. For those who don't know, Jamar Chase's girlfriend, pregnant girlfriend, posted on her Instagram a snap story of calling him out, saying that he's a pussy because he supposedly swung and hit her. From some of the comments I think were made post to this, was she has since deleted the posts on Instagram, and it sounds like there might be some non-truth to it. There's been no word from really
anyone about an investigation or anything. He struggled in the preseason. If you keep it to football, I mean, look, I'm still all over T. Higgins and Tyler Boyd in this offense. Chase sounds like he's got a little proving to do. So
I still love them all, but I would rather take Boyd and Higgins.
Boyd is the best value. Although I got
Boyd
Higgins
is easily the best value.
I got Higgins in like round 8 too, so that's okay.
Oh, Higgins is moving. I think I think that's something in the 4th round now. CDP is. Maybe it's so low.
He was always going to move up, though, if bad news came out about Jamar Chase.
602.
So, I mean, look, Tyler Boyd's the best value there. He never gets any respect. And
always has been the best value, too.
He has, and he never gets any respect. And all he did last year was put up over 1,000 yards himself.
I do believe that Cincinnati is going to be in contention as the leading.
Wasn't over 1,000 yards. He did have 110 targets, though. Only played in 15 games. Bad quarterback situation. Previous 2 years, he was over 1,000 yards. Volume's there. I am just saying.
Sean McVay maintained that Darrell Henderson will, quote, still have a very big role.
I'm sure he will.
I don't think anyone's shot. Again, I don't think this changed. Much of his role hasn't really changed with Michel there. I think it's what was missing in the loss of Akers. Not so much of what Henderson was going to take away from it.
Yep. Some early injury news. Noah Fant not going to play last preseason game. We'll play week 1, it looks like. Kenny Golladay has not yet returned to Giants practice. I have no interest in Giants wide receivers. Let somebody else take that bullet.
Fuck no. Just give me Saquon, and that's who I want from that offense.
Cortland Sutton will play in Saturday's preseason game. First live game. Good for him.
Dak's no longer on a pitch count, which hopefully means his shoulder is good and ready to go for week 1.
Odell Beckham took 11 on 11. There's something we haven't talked about a lot. We haven't talked about Odell or Jarvis a whole lot.
I mean, the only buzz coming out of Cleveland has been that Donovan Peoples-Jones has been the big standout. He should have locked in the wide receiver 3 spot, taking it away from Rashard Higgins. Anthony Schwartz is a rookie. And Peoples-Jones was a highly recruit coming out of high school, wasted away in Michigan because this is what they do, apparently. He came on late last year in the absence of Odell, and then Rashard when he got hurt. Odell, again, like his ADP hasn't really done too much right now. He is a 606 wide receiver 27, tied with Judy and Michael Thomas right in between them.
Oh, he hasn't done a lot since he got there either. Jarvis is going a lot cheaper with over 100 targets the last couple of years. Odell in Cleveland, I guess.
Odell's got the upside if they can finally get on the same page there. But again, same offense finally for his first time. It's still decent value to me as what I think is considered the wide receiver one on that team.
They're both decent values, which is why I feel like we need to talk about them, right? Because we need to talk values here, and they're both. I think Odell and Jarvis are both decent values where they're going. It's just
even with like limited, like even us knowing that the Browns' offense is more run first, we know I'm pumped for year 2 in this Stefanski offense for Baker and for his playmakers.
Remember, the Stefanski offense is what saw a Adam Thielen and a Stephon Diggs.
Yeah, I'll be.
So
I hope Odell is completely ready, as ready as he can be in week 1. And I hope that they've whatever nonsense is put behind him, because we know Odell's talent, and we know what he could do when he is fully engaged and unlocked. And Jarvis is just the perfect complement to what Odell does. So,
yeah. So again, they're both value picks. Jarvis has been over 100 targets since he got to Cleveland. So
he is the safety blanket for Baker.
Volume there. Barkley live reps on Thursday, first time since tearing his ACL.
Which is great. Took eight live reps.
It does kind of trend towards being on a pitch count to start.
I mean, no one
season,
should be
though.
shocked if he's going to be in a pitch count.
It's a long play.
Yeah, but the talent's undeniable.
3-headed attack at running back is expected for the Jets.
It might be a 4-headed.
It's going to be a hot hand approach.
It'll be gross.
Ooh, Panthers traded for Ryan Santoso from the Giants, who was having a hell of a preseason. It's a kicker, by the way.
Yay.
We're a kicker show.
Right. Bears waived.
Javon Wims.
Bears legend receiver, Javon Wims.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Underwhelming to say the least.
Oh, Tua won't play in Sunday's preseason finale against Cincinnati. I mean, it shouldn't be shocked, honestly.
I mean, he's going to start. He shouldn't be, yeah.
No.
I mean, the only thing that tells you is were teams going to treat the third preseason game like they treated the third preseason game, or were they going to treat it like they treated the fourth preseason game?
Titans, COVID outbreak.
Tannehill.
Biggest known name is Tannehill. Going to miss 5 to 10 days. Should be back. That still puts him in a time range to make to start week 1.
Here's an interesting twist on the Deshaun Watson scenario. Could be a healthy scratch during the 2021 regular season. You really think the Texans, if the NFL doesn't impose a penalty, are going to take Deshaun Watson off the field on their own?
I don't even. I'm just waiting. Whatever. Like you're taking Watson in your drafts as an upside if he plays.
He's been with the third and fourth team offense. Oh, but it was said on the Fantasy Authority podcast. Okay.
Well, okay. Let's see here. Ooh, I like the Jacksonville players aren't thrilled about head coach Urban Meyer's coaching style
Hold on, I'll get
and
that.
practicing tactics. We know that Cam Newton returns Thursday.
More to Watson.
Oh, is there?
As long as the criminal cases against Watson are active, the league can't interview him and therefore can't place Watson on the commissioner exempt list. That would mean Watson could be on the Texans roster this year, probably as a healthy scratch. Which means Tyrod Taylor would start. I don't think if he's not exempt that the Texans scratch him unless they're really tanking. But what are you tanking for? You don't have a first-round pick.
It's just weird. I don't know how they can't. Okay. I never heard of, because these cases are going to go until next year. Like, they're not going to even be solved.
There's a lot wrong with that statement, I think.
Yeah, I don't like it. I mean, it's been a fucked up situation.
To begin with, right.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
you can't put him on the exempt list, so you're going to make him eligible, and the Texans are going to do the right thing? I don't buy that for a fucking second. So,
He may not start. He's going to fucking play.
yeah. Yeah, because the fans, when the Texans are fucking losing, are going to go apeshit if Watson's not in there. Fans want to win football games. Watson's still your best chance to win football games, regardless of what's going on.
Yep.
Newton returned to practice. Yeah. Jaguars players not thrilled about Urban Meyer. Shocker.
We'll see how this spills over. And
Having a
it's-
microphone on the field, telling everybody to hydrate and hustle and get to the next period. He's been stubborn about adjusting to coaching professionals after years of directing teenagers. Yeah, that's not surprising.
Yeah. Don't worry, he'll medically retire here
Soon.
halfway through the
Yep.
season. Devin Funchess placed an IR. Oof.
Luke Wilson retiring.
Wilson.
This is part of the show where most people tune out because we're just educating ourselves.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Beat reporter saying Mac Jones has earned the right to be the Patriots' Week 1 starter. Yeah, probably. It doesn't mean he will be.
Yeah. We've seen teams make the wrong decision countless times.
Taywan Taylor released from the Texans. Just a name from our past. Curtis Samuel will be back in practice sometime this week. Gadget guy, there's not a lot of conversation around. So, Curtis Samuel, look, the fact is that the Washington football team still needs a 2. You can do worse than Curtis Samuel late in your draft. As long as he's healthy.
Yeah, he's healthy. We know
They'll find ways
back up
to
with
use
Rivera
him.
too.
Yep. Marvin Jones sprained a C joint. Anthony Schwartz hamstring. Stocking injuries.
Joe Burrow will play limited snaps in Cincinnati's final preseason game, which makes sense because he hasn't played all preseason.
Reminder Stevenson in his big game, he was running with the 2s behind Damian Harris.
Yeah, he will open up as the primary backup.
He will.
We'll see what he takes away by week 1. I don't think it'll be much.
It'll be change of pace.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, here it is. Rams acquired Michel in exchange for a conditional 5th and 6th round picks.
Terrell Williams, groin injury. Expected back next week.
Yeah.
Kyle Rudolph passed his physical. He'll be practicing.
Jameis Winston is the leader in the clubhouse to be the New Orleans starting quarterback.
Yeah, there's another quarterback situation we're still paying close attention to is New Orleans. And we'll see, right? With Michael Thomas, New Orleans offense has not gotten a lot of attention this offseason. But for Superflex purposes, and for a lot of purposes, really, I'm still hoping for Jameis.
Oh, Jameis will be the starter. He's been named the starter.
Has he?
Yes.
As he should be. 9
So-
of 10, 123 and 2. A lot more efficient than Taysom Hill.
Still, just like in the days with Drew Brees, Taysom will likely take enough.
He's gonna be annoying.
Snaps away to be annoying.
Indeed.
Well, Patriots claimed Kalali Waring off of the waivers. Another name of the past.
There's another tight end though.
Yeah, they are the new Chicago Bears of tight ends.
Yeah, but two of their tight ends are really, really fucking good.
Yeah, they're both hurt. They both keep rotating or keep switching injuries or rotating getting hurt. So who the fuck knows?
Oh, so ETN isn't eligible to return this season. It is
yes, he's on IR, and we know that. I think it's still 3. I think it's still they get unlimited return designations.
Right, but if you put him in IR at this point of the season, in the preseason,
he'll miss at least 8 games, 8 weeks. I think it's 8 weeks.
No,
we'll see.
It literally says he's ineligible to return it into the season.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Right.
That must be 2 different ones. Okay.
That's what I was getting at. IR in the preseason, I think injury season.
Or they just didn't do IR with designation to return. Just flat out IR because they know that he's done for the year.
Well, then that's probably the smart way to do it, right?
Exactly. Reports are missing 12 weeks, and there's no reason to rush him back. I think Jacksonville already knows that they're not competing for the Super Bowl this year, so there's no need to even rush him. I think that's everything.
I think so. Will Fuller resumed practicing after a lower body injury. What is this, the NHL? Yeah. Hey, we did have one question in last week's show I wanted to get to before we wrap up, and we'll end on this. Sure. Advice for an 8-man PPR and redraft. So, league size. I do believe you play different size leagues differently.
Yes.
And in an 8-man, look.
Hope your roster's bigger.
Well, even if it's not, right? The thing in an 8-man is every roster is going to be deep. So if you're playing in an 8-man PPR, my first thing is draft as much upside as possible. Forget the floor. Draft as much upside as possible in an 8-man PPR because every team's going to be loaded. So you're going to have to out big gun anybody else in the league.
Try to get one of the top 3 or 4 tight ends. Because when you get to this shallow of league size, and if the roster size are shallow, you're looking for an edge because everyone's team is going to have a generally equal value in terms of their players. So getting an edge at a shallow position like tight ends is huge.
The waiver wire is also going to be shallow, so you're in week to week. The way you manage an 8-man league is going to matter a whole lot more to what your end of season result is than your draft is. So
draft rushing upside quarterbacks.
Yeah, only draft upside, only draft rushing upside quarterbacks. You're drafting everything at upside, and know the waiver wire is going to be deep. So week to week, you're going to need to not only pay attention to your waiver wire, you're also going to need to pay very close attention to your matchups, and that includes even for top-tier players. Something we try to avoid is touching on the Calvin Ridleys and DeAndre Hopkins and Christian McCaffreys of the world. But in a league that shallow, you absolutely need to pay attention to what's going on week to week and who's playing who week to week. Because remember, everybody's loaded. So you're not going to win it just based on having the most talent on your roster. You're going to have to play ceilings every week.
Does it say how deep
No, it did
his
not.
roster size is? Okay.
It just said any tips in an 8-man PPR. Take
tight ends and don't be afraid to take 2. I'll be honest, like that is a huge positional value when you have 8 teams or less. It gives you a huge edge. Even in a flex spot, we know that Darren Waller and Kelsey can be viewed as wide receiver 1 and 2s. And you get the positional upside in that tight end spot.
Right. Yeah, that's pretty much it to cover an 8-man, though. It's basically, look, Everybody's going to be loaded. Everybody has guns. Tight end's your biggest position of difference, so make sure that you differentiate there. And otherwise, you're going to have to play for which gun's going to make the biggest explosion on any given week and play your waiver wire. But you're not concerned with floor in an 8-man league. Because if the floor falls out from something, you just drop it and pick up something else.
Exactly.
So those are my 8-man league advice. One other thing I got cold asked the other day that was kind of fun to think about. It was, so what players should I take in my fantasy football draft? I haven't done a lot of research.
Draft good players.
But there was something else that I wanted to dive in here too that I think is more important. That is know your keeper. Know your league's keeper rules and know how to strategize around them. And the reason I bring this up is the guy that asked me that. It's like, well, I'm keeping Nick Chubb. He's the only stud running back I have. And I'm like, all right. I'm like, that's fine. What are your league's keeper rules? Is it a league where if you keep somebody, you lose your first and second round pick? Do you get them at original round ADP? It's like, no, we get them 2 rounds above where we drafted them last year if we keep them, unless it's the first or second round. So it moves people up 2 rounds.
Okay.
He took Damian Harris in the 11th.
Still value.
Yeah, that's what I said. I'm like, look, you're keeping Damian Harris along with Nick Chubb. And he's like, I didn't even think of that. And I'm like, yeah, because Damian Harris in the 9th round is still likely to outproduce that ADP. He's going 3 rounds ahead of that based on whatever you're going to get. So know your keeper settings. Don't always look at your keepers as I have to keep the stud. If your keeper is original round ADP or 2 rounds higher or something that isn't round 1 or 2, you don't have to keep the stud. You can keep a player that's a value at where you're going to get them to. Doesn't have to be somebody that blew up.
And start, like, if you have the ability to start looking at your other roster mates
and what they're keeping. Right.
You want to try to give yourself an idea of how many people they're keeping and what that draft slot may look for you. I wouldn't be opposed to him getting rid of Nick Chubb. It just depends what other running backs will be available.
Let's get Nick Chubb in the second, because if you draft somebody in the first or second.
I know what he's losing. I'm saying what running backs could he potentially draft?
I looked at that, and it's
without
not
losing
going
that.
I looked at it, and it's not going to be better.
Okay.
So I did look at that before I gave him advice. It's a single quarterback league. You're getting Nick Chubb at second-round value in a single QB league. There's nobody not being kept. I mean, the only hope you have at getting something maybe better is the incoming rookie class, and are you taking Najee Harris over Nick Chubb? No.
They're probably the same tier for me.
Yeah, a little after. So, like, to me, Nick Chubb's second round is not something that's in question, because if your original ADP was in the first or second round, that 2-round move up doesn't apply.
Yeah.
So
I'm also a little bit lower on Nick Chubb, I think, by consensus. So that's
I still think that mid-second round where he took him,
it also depends even if he has a shot on a running back to replace him. Like if his pick is lower first round pick,
and he won't know that until then. And I did mention that. Pay attention to who else is dropped. But I mean, look, if you're Nick Chubb is burning your second round pick. Nick Chubb doesn't move up to a first round pick. Nick Chubb is burning your second round pick.
Yeah.
When you do that.
I know.
So, yeah, Nick Chubb can burn my second round pick, because unless I'm picking 201, 202, Nick Chubb is where it's going to be at. And in a 2-keeper league, you're not going to have, in my opinion, a running back that is not in a single quarterback league. You are not going to have another running back a running back not kept that I would want to take over Nick Chubb. 12 teams.
Yeah. I wonder who his first round pick was last year then.
I have it. Hold on. I can tell you.
I have to know.
Actually, maybe Chubb was his first rounder. Hold on. Oh, look. I got it.
Okay.
He sent me the whole draft board.
Oh, that's nice of him. More context. Appreciate that.
Michael Thomas.
Okay. Yeah. Obviously, you're taking.
Right. So Nick Chubb was a second-round pick, and here's what the other teams have, right? Looking at running backs, team that picked ahead of him, Barkley and Kamara.
He's going to keep both, obviously.
Next team, Aaron Jones, Kareem Hunt.
He's going to keep Jones.
But he's going to let Hunt go, but you're not taking Hunt over Nick Chubb.
God, no. Fuck no.
Next one was the guy that was asking me the question. So I'll skip over that. Next one, Dalvin Cook, Joe Mixon, Derrick Henry.
Oh, it just depends. So he's going to keep Cook and Mixon. I'm sorry, not he'll probably keep Cook and Henry.
Yeah. So Mixon will go. So
I'd keep Cook and Mixon if it's me personally,
but that's one of those areas where, okay, maybe you do take him over Nick Chubb, but also where are you drafting, right? Are you going to give up Nick Chubb and not get a shot at one of those guys?
Exactly.
Because he can only keep two of those. One of those guys is going to go away and be a better pickup than Nick Chubb, but if somebody else has a pick before he does, then they're probably going to go. The next team was terrible. I mean, god-awful. Single quarterback league. They started Travis Kelce, Aaron Rodgers.
Oof.
So
I mean, you're going to keep. You'll probably keep Kelce still, obviously.
Yeah, but it's a first-round ADP.
I mean, that's still. I mean, Kelce is.
Their backs were Le'Veon Bell, David Montgomery. I could see taking David Montgomery, who was a sixth-round pick, keeping him as a fourth rounder.
No, that's like current ADP. That's still tough.
Yeah, it's tough, but if you're going to keep somebody, the other option is you keep Amari Cooper as a second-rounder, right? I mean, or you just blow that up.
You just keep one keeper. You just keep Travis Kelce. That's it.
Or
you don't keep anybody.
The next team was Josh Jacobs, Todd Gurley.
Yikes, dude! What the fuck did that team do? I mean, between those two, you're not keeping either of them.
So they started off Julio Jones first round, Lamar Jackson fourth round. Those were the two picks in between them. Cortland Sutton, Jarvis Landry, AJ Green were the next couple.
That dude he had a rough year last year.
Yeah, that team's rough. They might not keep anybody either, but again, you taking Josh Jacobs over Nick Chubb? Nope. They're probably going to keep Josh Jacobs as a second round value.
I wouldn't keep him as second round value.
Well, again, it depends on what other people do, right?
There's only two keepers, so there's 24 players. Is it a 12-team league?
12-team league.
Yeah, so you have 24 players. There are more than 24 players better than Josh Jacobs, and that's if you're not, keeping guys like Damian Harris. Like, there's going to be somebody better in the first or second round than trying to not keep, because you're losing the draft slot. So,
well, that's if you're not keeping people, right? Because keep in mind, it's all based on value as well. So if somebody got a good value on somebody,
they're effectively taking these players at those rounds. So the draft slot, so the rounds will be smaller.
So
the first two rounds are going to be small.
So Josh Jacobs is a second round pick, and this is where it was, and you'd be holding him as a second round pick. I guess if there's a wide receiver that gets let go, like the team that had Saquon and Kamara also had Allen Robinson and Calvin Ridley. So, I mean...
Oh, God, yeah. See, I'd take them both over.
Something's going to be let go there.
Yeah. You're going to see guys that are... like I said, it's only 24 players going to be capped. There's going to be... You're still going to get value, especially if one of these guys keeps a Patrick Mahomes or Lamar Jackson with their second or first round picks.
There's nobody on the team that started Cook, Mixon, Henry. They're wide receivers. There's nobody I would consider keeping. They went Juju, Lockett, T.Y. Hilton, Tyler Boyd.
I consider Lockett over Jacobs, but...
You'd be keeping Lockett at a third-round value, though.
Well, no, I'm not saying that they would keep him. I'm saying that I would...
if he released...
I would potentially take Lockett over Jacobs in that draft.
See, I don't know that I'd do that. Yeah. So it's Jacobs, Gurley, and then, I don't know that I would do that. I think that Josh Jacobs is, assuming everybody keeps two, Josh Jacobs is a top 24 player, in my opinion.
Okay. I don't see it, so no. I wouldn't keep Jacobs with the second round tenure.
Let's see. Next team was Elliott, Edwards-Helaire, So it was Zeke and Clyde, top 2.
Okay.
They had DK Metcalf in the 6th, which seems like worth it to keep him in the 4th.
Oh God, you keep Zeke and DK and you let Clyde go.
Clyde go. Yep. I think that's exactly what you do. So there's another one that I would take probably at least same tier as Jacobs, if not over. Christian McCaffrey, Tyreek Hill, so Chris Carson's going to be out there.
Who I would also take over Jacobs.
Yeah. Yeah, Cooper Kupp. Stephon Diggs. Oh, my God. No, that guy is not. If I'm that guy, I'm not keeping Tyreek Hill. I'm keeping McCaffrey in the first round, and I'm keeping Stephon Diggs at. Where did he go? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I'm taking Diggs I'm keeping Diggs as a 7th rounder if I'm that guy and I'm smart. Yeah.
McCaffrey, Diggs.
Yeah.
But still, that means he's letting Tyreek go too.
He's letting Tyreek go, right? But Diggs as a 7th rounder, I think is a lot better value.
Oh, that's a no call. That's
no-brainer.
An easy. That's an easy no call. Either way, he's picking either between Hill or Diggs. So one of those two is going back.
Yeah, the difference is though you're keeping Tyreek Hill as a 2nd, or you're keeping Stephon Diggs.
I'm not
as
talking. I know.
7th. I mean, round value. I'm taking Diggs, and it's not even close.
Oh no, I know. I'm not speaking to. I'm speaking to what is being put back into the pool. You're keeping Diggs at that value. No matter what.
So that puts Tyreek Hill, Edwards-Helaire, one of either Mixon or Derrick Henry, back into the pool.
All of those players I'm taking over Jacobs.
Yeah.
As of right now.
I am going to tell Cody to listen to the last 25 minutes of this, too, because we went over his league.
And then also Chris Carson, because I heard you mention him. And
Allen Chris Carson would be cut, too, and Allen Robinson. So, I mean, there's definitely players
that guy had a stacked team. Jesus Christ.
Well, it's not all on the same team.
Oh, okay. I was like, fuck.
Although this guy did have a stacked team. It was McCaffrey, who got hurt last year, obviously.
Sure.
But Tyreek Hill, Chris Carson, Cooper Kupp, Darren Waller, Devin
This
Singletary.
is all one team?
Yeah, Devin Singletary, Russell Wilson, Julian Edelman, Stephon Diggs.
That's insane. Diggs was a 9th round pick.
Yeah, Melvin Gordon.
You're not keeping. Don't even act like you're keeping Gordon with an 8th round value. You're not keeping.
No, Melvin Gordon was. Let's see. I said Diggs was 9th, right?
Yeah.
10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th. So if you kept Melvin Gordon, it's at 12th round value.
That's insanely good. Now he's going to be put back into the pool, and he won't be.
No, because you're not keeping him over.
Yeah, like even with
McCaffrey, because you're not. Look, you can like
he's the 101
value.
So,
you're keeping McCaffrey, but I think it's Christian McCaffrey and Diggs there. You let Hill go.
I know
for Diggs as a 7th rounder, and then you hope you get him back, and if you don't, then you get a 2nd running back, and you upgrade over.
Yeah, we know
Carson
that team is set up.
That team was set up well.
Team set up nice.
Next team's probably keeping wide receivers. They started Adams, Hopkins, Thielen.
You're keeping, at least based on those three, you're keeping Adams and Hopkins.
They got Keenan Allen in the 6th, so you could keep Keenan Allen in 4th round value too.
No, I would go Adams, Allen. I would let Hopkins walk for his 2nd round.
Oh, and by the way, they got Jonathan Taylor at 5th round value, so you can keep Jonathan Taylor at 3rd round value.
God. So you have to pick between Allen and Taylor. So Taylor 3rd round or Allen 4th round.
I would probably take Taylor 3rd round and Adams 1st round.
Yeah, I think that's the play.
But then, and then the other guy, last guy in the league, didn't do anything good. Yeah, no, that team is shit.
Nobody worth keeping at all.
He took Mahomes first round. You could keep Mahomes at 1st round value, but no, there's nobody at value worth keeping.
I mean, if he drafted Mahomes 1st round,
he
might end up keeping Mahomes in the 1st round.
Can I read off some of these bad teams to you and just make fun of them?
Sure.
All right. Let's see. Here's one. The guy that had Aaron Jones. Kyler Murray is his first-round pick in a single QB league. Took Kyler Murray at the 102.
In a single QB.
Yes. Aaron Jones, Evan Ingram in the 3rd round.
This must be a really bad home league. This
is a home league, yeah.
That's
For my
Jesus
buddy.
Christ.
Odell, Kareem Hunt, Larry Fitz, Patriots DST in the 7th round.
I mean, that fucking paid off for them. No, it
Can you
didn't.
enjoy
Never
it?
mind. They were bad last year.
You ready for this one?
Yeah.
Jake Elliott in the 9th.
So that's
Actually,
if
I'm this team, I might take I might keep Chase Claypool at an 11th round value.
Oh yeah.
Because they got Claypool in the 13th. They got Hawkinson in the 15th.
So maybe Jones. They're gonna keep reasonably because it sounds like they're not a reasonable drafter. Reasonably, you'd keep Adams and Claypool.
You'd keep Jones and Claypool, right?
Yeah, you keep Jones and Claypool.
Right.
I'm sorry, Jones, not Adams. Jones and Claypool.
Cody did all right. Cody's my buddy in this league. He went. All right, I'm just going to go team by team. This is kind of fun, actually. I like ripping on this. So the first guy went Barkley, Kamara, Robinson, Woods, Ridley, Chark, Ingram, Gallup, Hurst, Murray, Deontay Johnson, Madison, Wentz, Matt Gay, Mike Gesicki, Jonnu Smith. He went that's a really good draft.
He did well, and he's going to probably end up drafting well.
And he's going to end up keeping and drafting well. Cody did okay. He went Michael Thomas, Nick Chubb, George Kittle in the 3rd, which is all right. DeAndre Swift, Terry McLaurin.
See, again.
McLaurin in the 5th.
I mean, Swift in the 4th.
3rd round value. Swift would be 2nd round value. Marquise Brown, Raheem Mostert, Tom Brady, Preston Williams, Jordan Howard, but then Damian Harris he got in the 11th, which I love that value. Will Lutz, Cam Newton, Chris Herndon, Michael Pittman. Michael Pittman was the last round pick. I think he's keeping Chubb and Harris. He did all right. I mean, it probably didn't end up looking well for him, but considering where ADPs and things were last season, I think that was okay.
Yeah, it's not the worst thing.
Guy after him went Dalvin Cook, Joe Mixon, Derrick Henry. Good, great start.
Yeah.
Then he went Juju Smith-Schuster, Tyler Lockett, T.Y. Hilton. Again, shooting at wide receivers. Yep. Cam Akers, Tyler Boyd. Can't fault that. James White, Jerry Jeudy, Henry Ruggs, Justin Tucker, 49ers, Jack Doyle, Josh Allen, Matthew Stafford. Holy shit, Josh Allen at 13th round value. Even in single QB.
But are you going to keep him over Cook, Cook, Mixon, or Henry?
No, you're not.
See,
but
if Akers doesn't get hurt, that also creates a conundrum.
Right. That guy has a good problem to have, which is too many good players, and something just died. But no, Josh Allen though at 13th round value, man, that's hard. Good. I mean, I wouldn't get rid of any of those 3 backs, but that'd be a hard one to pass up. Next guy started Travis Kelce, Aaron Rodgers, Mike Evans, Amari Cooper, Le'Veon Bell, David Montgomery, Devontae Parker, Phillip Lindsay, Jared Cook, Matt Ryan, Tevin Coleman, single QB. You went Rodgers and then Matt Ryan. Tevin Coleman, Steelers D. Beasley, Sanders, Prater, Samuel.
He may have been a playoff team, especially with the emergence of Montgomery second half of the season. He may end up being a playoff team.
Mike Evans fell off second half of the season, though, so.
I mean, Rodgers and Kelce and Montgomery.
It would have been a really top-heavy team.
That was a very stacked start.
Plus, this is just the draft board. You don't know how waivers went, so
that's true
too.
I mean, I would assume all 3 of them would
have
still on his team.
That's the other component to this, right? How do you play keeping your waiver wire picks?
Those would probably be last round.
Yeah.
My guess would be last round ADP. So James Robinson's probably capped for last round pick.
Let's see. Julio Jones, Josh Jacobs, Lamar Jackson, Todd Gurley, Cortland Sutton, Jarvis Landry, AJ Green, Tariq Cohen, Kerryon Johnson. Yikes. Bills defense, Golden Tate,
There's not a player I would keep.
Matt
on that
Breida,
team.
Harrison Butker, Mark Andrews.
Mark Andrews, I keep him for whatever.
Keep Mark
10th round
Andrews
ADP.
at round 12th.
I'd keep him. That's the only player I'd keep from this roster.
No, it's not. You ready for this one?
Yeah, what's the final one?
Round 15, Justin Jefferson.
What?
You keep Justin Jefferson
Jefferson
at 13th
and Mark Andrews.
round ADP.
That's it. Yeah, and then you get your stud running back.
Yeah, in Joe Burrow. Yep. No, you're keeping Jefferson and Andrews on that team.
Yeah,
How do you not keep Justin Jefferson at a 13th round ADP?
that's fucking. And he gets them for the.
By the way, if you
round.
want us to dissect your home league, at Beerfield FF, we'd be glad to do it.
We've done this before. We've done it with leagues. We've done it with rookie drafts. For our listeners out there, if you want to listen to us ramble on about how good or bad your league mates are, including yourself, because we don't shy away from criticism.
All right, couple more.
Good.
Zeke Elliott, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Chris Godwin, Leonard Fournette, Zach Ertz, DK Metcalf. That's a definite keep.
Yeah.
Will Fuller,
Metcalf, so far.
J.K. Dobbins in round 8.
No, you're still keeping Elliott, then Metcalf.
Deshaun Watson, Zach Moss, Marvin Jones, CeeDee Lamb.
Ooh, that might be tough. CeeDee Lamb over Metcalf because of because of ADP value.
Yeah, he'd be a 10th rounder. CeeDee Lamb would be.
Ooh. Justin Jefferson,
That's
15.
juicy.
CeeDee Lamb as a 10th rounder.
Yeah.
That's gonna
Justin
double
Jefferson,
up on
13th.
Dallas.
I like the way that they're doing these values, though. I really do. They're doing the
there's-
keepers.
There's fun ways to do keepers.
Yeah, this
I've
is
done
a
the
fun
keeper
way.
league where it wasn't fun.
This is a fun way to do keepers.
Yep, you do penalize. Move it 2 rounds up every year, and if you
Yep.
kept a player the year before, you just add 2 rounds to that.
Yep.
Simple.
And you have to decide if they're worth it. Yep, I agree completely. And then it was Mike Williams, Saints, Sing Gonzalez, Eric Ebron.
Yeah.
Love
Good
late
for,
round tight end, though.
You may even decide to keep. I mean, he may even get cute and decide to just keep to just do Metcalf and CeeDee Lamb.
Yeah.
You know, was it 6th round Metcalf ADP, and then is
CeeDee
it 6th
Lamb.
or 4th, and then
He was in the 6th, so it would be 4th this year.
yeah, so it's going to
Be
be
two
Zeke and
really
Lamb.
good wide receiver values, and you worry about the rest. You know, feel like your running backs.
I mean, you got a 1st round back already. I think I'd do Zeke and Lamb.
I probably would too, and
Yeah.
then figure it out in the middle because Lamb is such a good value that
That's insane.
yeah.
And then you just draft Dak and you go fucking all in on Dallas. 3 Dallas players. Come on, team of whoever the fuck you are, take Dak. Let's have some fun.
Christian McCaffrey, Tyreek Hill,
Oh, this team is stacked. I already
Chris
know that.
Carson, Cooper Kupp, Darren Waller, Devin Singletary, Russell Wilson, Julian Edelman, Stephon Diggs, Hunter Henry, Marlon Mack, the Bears, Melvin Gordon, Anthony Miller, Jared Goff, Michael Badgley.
So we said it was Diggs and McCaffrey.
Yeah, it would be Diggs. and
Even
McCaffrey.
Waller as a 3rd round ADP is also nuts. Waller's going
But-
to lead that team in targets.
Yeah, Waller would be a 3rd round ADP, which is pretty good. You're not giving up McCaffrey at the 1st round ADP. So it's basically who else, right? Do you keep Tyreek Hill at 2nd round ADP? Do you keep Darren Waller at 3rd? Or do you keep Stephon Diggs at 7th? I think it's Diggs at 7th there.
Yeah, there's one of those is not like the other. So
Next team was wide receiver heavy. It's like the antithesis of the one that started RB heavy.
yeah.
Devontae Adams, DeAndre Hopkins, Adam Thielen, then James Conner, Jonathan Taylor. Jonathan Taylor is a 5th round pick, is probably worth keeping as a 3rd rounder.
Yep. I
Probably
agree.
Adams and Taylor there.
Yep.
And Keenan Allen, Rob Gronkowski.
No, it might
Oh.
be. It could be Allen and
No,
and
it
Taylor.
could be Austin Eckler as a 6th rounder. Took him in the 8th.
Ooh, Eckler Taylor. That might be your keeper list right there, folks. Eckler Taylor.
Debo Samuel, Dak Prescott, John Brown, Tony Pollard, Greg Zuerlein, Colts, Ryan Tannehill, Austin Hooper.
Yeah, it's I like Eckler Taylor.
Eckler Taylor's good again because of value, right? I mean, the answer.
6th and 3rd gone.
Yeah, I mean, Adams in the 1st is a hard thing to let go of, though, too. Because you're not getting him
I
back.
feel a lot better if I'm
Depends on
knowing
the
that
scoring,
I
though.
can get
It's
knowing that I
PPR.
can keep Taylor and Eckler. I mean, if you want to get a little cuter, you don't even keep Taylor and you go Adams Eckler.
Adams Eckler.
Yeah,
I'd probably
Taylor
I think Adams Taylor is the safe way to play it.
I would personally go Taylor.
It's
Eckler.
just the value on Eckler, and that's what makes this type of keeper format interesting. Is you got to play value too, right? Like you're getting. Do you want Adams at ADP? Do you want Taylor slightly below ADP, or do you want Eckler way below ADP?
This is what makes it. And then if you go through your other teams' rosters, it gives you an even better idea of what to expect in the first couple of rounds, which is what you should all be doing if you're in keeper leagues.
Yep.
Is you need to assess every other team's situation, including your own.
And then finally, the last team was Patrick Mahomes, Miles Sanders, Kenny Golladay, DJ Moore, AJ Brown in the 5th.
So you're keeping him so far.
Probably keeping him. David Johnson, Ronald Jones, Tyler Higbee, Brandon Cooks, Darrell Henderson.
They'll probably end up keeping Henderson, but that I wouldn't. That's still 6th
It's
round.
8th round ADP. He's in the 10th.
Oh, is it 8th?
Yeah.
10th. Oh, okay.
Jamison Crowder, Noah Fant, Sterling Shepard, Duke Johnson, Broncos, Robbie Gould.
I honestly don't love anyone's.
I'd probably keep Henderson at the ADP.
I mean, you're getting yourself at least your RB3. I mean, AJ Brown, but his 3rd round. That's even a little heavy on that. So you may not even you may just keep Henderson and hope you can find other replacements and let Henderson be your RB3 as a 10th round pick, 8th round value, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Are we still recording?
Yeah. No, we're done.
No, I'm saying are we?
Yeah,
Have you been done?
We recorded all that. No.
I love it. Okay, let's get the fuck.
By the way, yeah, we're okay with doing roster breakdowns and everything. And if there's anything that you take out of that and we're still listening to us for that, it's basically this, right? Pay attention to what's going on, break it down, have those discussions, figure out, put together a list of what's likely to be available when you're deciding on keepers. Know how your league does them, and try to anticipate what people are going to do.
Yes.
Is you
All
make those
great
types of
advice.
decisions. So that's all we got for you this week. We will be back next week with something.
So we're so professional.
Well, it's 10:30 at night. I'm tired and have other things to do. So there's that
All
too.
right.
We'll be back next week. By the way, a little programming note. Middle of September is going to be weird.
Love it. It
Next
will be.
time.
See it.